Welcome back to another episode of What Are We Watching? All right, boys, welcome back on our long little break there.
Yeah.
Missed a drop there. Nick had to go to Colorado on us.
Yeah, the West was calling me.
Yeah,
when you answer the look, if the West is calling, you got to answer the call. Okay, I got on a cowboy hat and hit the open road.
Hey, that's good. That's good for you.
No, I didn't wear one cowboy hat out there. I was pissed. I was gonna sarcastically buy one at a gas station, but I didn't. It didn't end up working out for me. But
I don't think Colorado's a state that you have to wear a cowboy hat in.
well, we did Colorado and then went up to Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Oh, there you go.
And I was like, well, how
you did
let's get
Wyoming,
it.
too.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't
we
know
did a
that.
couple places.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
we did a little tour. Had to meet the
Nice.
people. So many fans out there. Of
A lot of What Are We Watching fans.
A lot of What Are We Watchers. A lot of watch heads out there. So
Watch it. Yeah, I like that.
let's do. So Keith, or excuse me, Leatherface is joining us from the show. What's the temperature like in that thing?
It's actually not bad yet because you keep your house nice and cold. But I mean, if I had to wear this for extended time, I don't think I would like it.
I'm sure it's sounding like you're at the bottom of a ravine right now.
Like if you had to wear that on the set of this movie, that was like
I'm sure
during
that
a
mask,
Texas heat wave.
Yeah, that's
I'm
awful.
sure that mask was way worse.
Yeah.
There's no way it was as comfortable.
That's pretty good. It has the little ties on the end.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty
good
good.
It is a good man.
It is a good
Trick or
mask.
Treat Studios.
It's got the
We'll
teeth,
post that.
too.
We're gonna post a picture of Leatherface joining us on Instagram, so make sure you check that out. Give us a
Yeah,
follow.
I'll
Subscribe,
probably do the
whatever
whole
you gotta
episode
do.
like this, so you can't understand a word I say.
Yeah,
Got a lot to say, so hopefully we, yeah.
I'm curious to see how the sound is
It sounds
coming
like
out through it.
shit.
Oh, yeah.
I can hear my voice, and it does not sound
And
good.
it's not good. Yeah, it's tough. Oh, he's taking it off. Bye, Leatherface. I love you forever. Now he's just rocking the hair piece of it. Looks like Lawrence from Office Space.
It's like a full mullet.
Full mullet. But yeah, guys, what's going on? It's good to be back. I guess we already spoiled what movie we're watching if you couldn't read or hear us talk about Texas Chain Space Saw 1974.
Space Saw.
Yeah, 74, man. That's crazy.
74.
It is nuts. This is whoa.
I don't even know what you're going to say. We say the same sentence. I don't know.
I was going to say, compare this to Black Christmas, that this is the first.
Yeah, technically the first
Technically the
slasher.
first.
I think that's more of like the quintessential, like, this made Halloween. But I don't know why people don't think this is like,
It's,
to me,
it's a slasher.
the slasher.
It's the first one.
Yeah.
Pay
Well,
some
speaking of
respect.
Tarantino, he called this a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Did he really?
It's up
Yeah.
there. This was up there with Jaws and
Yeah.
Back to the Future, I
Yeah.
think, and like something else, right?
And we all know what a hack that guy is. Am I right? No,
Hey, what does he know?
What did you say?
No,
Speaking
I'm
of
just
Tarantino, where was Tarantino?
Yeah, wait, where was Tarantino? You
Didn't
said
somebody
speaking-
just say Tarantino?
No, I think you were just like,
Nah.
I love him.
That's what I
I'm
thought.
just going to throw this in
Yo,
here.
I'm just gonna throw it out. Speaking of Tarantino,
Yeah, that's wild.
you can
Wow.
speak of Tarantino whenever you want.
Yeah,
I
you can
know.
speak
I
his name.
literally thought I just heard someone say
He's not
Tarantino.
Voldemort. You
Look,
can say
no, he said the word
Speaking of Tarantino,
said the word-
nobody said that, dude.
Black
Start
Christmas
saying
and
that at work.
slasher. Black Christmas,
In a meeting?
slasher,
Slasher,
Tarantino.
yeah,
Three words that all
Tarantino.
sound the same.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
It's like, how many insurance policies did you go
you-
through today? Well, speaking of
Yeah,
Tarantino,
speaking of Tarantino. That's wild. Yeah, what, on our long break, what has everybody been watching?
Ah, you don't want to know.
In a surprising turn of events, I did watch a movie this week.
That's good.
Oh,
You had
yeah.
multiple
Nice.
had multiple weeks to do it, so I'm
I
glad
did.
you were able to budget
I
some
did.
time.
You know
for
what? I
that.
didn't watch a single movie on while we were on vacation.
That's
Not
really
on a
good.
flight, anything. I just
Oh, you raw dogged the flight.
No, I was reading a lot.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
No, dude, I wasn't just sitting there
read.
staring forward like
just staring at the seat.
yeah, like
Oh, cool, man. You read. We get it.
yeah.
So,
All right,
yeah,
dude.
I read the Game of Thrones books again.
I read if you give a moose a muffin twice. All the classics.
50 Shades,
50 Shades of Grey.
I'm just giving you
Very loudly next
Em's
to
letting you have
Out loud,
cheese sticks
yeah.
if you finish your books. She's like, yeah, well, if you finish your book, you get a cheese stick.
Yeah, she cut up some bell peppers in a little baggie for me. It was a little
Ooh,
nutritious,
yeah,
crunchy
that's
snack.
good,
So
that's
it's
good.
good. She takes care of me. Anyway, what have you guys been watching? Keith, do you want to start? This is a big day for Keith. Just as a side note, would you say this is probably one of your favorite movies of all time?
Definitely my favorite horror movies, and probably one of my favorite movies. I think it's pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
Like it just
Yeah.
Like every time you watch it, it doesn't feel like you've watched a movie. It's just so like it just rolls.
It's up there for me too.
And this episode,
I love this movie.
I believe we're going to be talking about, just as like a little foreshadowing. So we're going to be talking about this one, and then I know we also wanted to talk about how it compares to the remake as well.
Which I thought was the homework assignment, and neither of you guys watched it.
Yeah,
you guys just
I didn't.
82 minutes was long enough for me. I'm good.
Yeah,
but I watched it last night.
Yeah, we got him.
82 minutes.
I'm fucking committed.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you guys doing?
I don't even know.
Oh.
No,
I'm just kidding. Well, before we get there, I did bring some goodies.
Yeah. Introduce the goodies.
I brought the mask. I brought this stupid shirt. And
so I'm going to post pictures of all these on Instagram before the episode comes out, just so you can, if you go back, you'll be able to find the posts. But
I brought Texas Chainsaw Steelbook. It's okay. This one I need to get a better one. This one doesn't have like any of the special features, so whatever. But this is the Texas Chainsaw 2 Vinegar Syndrome 4K and Blu-ray, and it comes with like I haven't gotten through yet, but there's like 2 discs full of special features.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
is it like
cool.
making of type stuff, like behind the scenes? Yeah.
Stuff about Canon Films, interviews with like just about anybody that was involved.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
do
cool.
like 2. It's good.
Yeah.
And then I brought the Texas Chainsaw Remake. It's DVD, but man, like the box is so cool. It opens all the way up. It's got
cool.
a full a full-on chainsaw thing.
Oh shit!
It opens all the way out, and then it has in the evidence file it has pictures like crime scene photos from
from the movie.
sick.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
So like a lot of boutique Blu-ray places are doing stuff like that now, but this is I guess like a real old school. Well, 2003 is not that old school, but you know the deal. And then I also
it was over
brought,
20 years
just
ago.
because this is so close, it's like a remake, kind of like a nice House of
Yeah.
1,000 Corpses is like a huge nod to this. I just had this.
That's a good movie.
And
Yeah,
the
that is a
Steelbook
good
is
one.
pretty sick. It has like the Dr. Satan like behind the.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that is pretty sick.
Yeah, so I just brought that shit. Whatever.
And then where did you get that shirt from? You got your Texas
The shirt I
Chainsaw
think I got on.
just
I think I got
online
on
somewhere.
Etsy.
Really?
Found someone
That's
that
a sick shirt.
Yeah, the guy was making.
I know, dude.
But like he makes them like kind of a little more old school. Like, so a lot of the shirts I see are kind of like there's like all over print, like crazy, and I do like that too. But this was like really simple.
Yeah.
But still kind of old school. Yeah, I got this, The Thing, and Reservoir Dogs from the same guy. I can't remember his name, but
Oh, that's pretty cool.
if I remember it, I will
We'll shout it out
shout it
if
out.
Keith remembers.
Well, if we're
And
doing
we
shout
didn't
outs,
shout it-
I want
yeah.
to shout out my buddy's podcast. I forgot
Yeah,
to
go for it.
clear that with you, so I guess we're just gonna have to deal with it. He's got 2 podcasts.
And if you just hear a silence right here, that means I didn't approve.
My buddy Justin.
I'm just kidding.
My buddy Justin has 2 podcasts. One's called Curtain Jerkers. He it's basically wrestling podcasts, but it's a wrestler that's in movies.
Oh, that's
so he
pretty
has
cool.
Vader.
That's sweet.
He has Nathan Jones
Yeah,
that
that's
was in
cool.
Fury Road. So they talk they go over they go over a few matches and then they go over and they talk about
Some
him
movies
in
that
the
they were in.
movies. Yeah,
That's pretty
So
cool.
it's all about wrestlers that were in movies. And then he's got
Oh,
Cage
nice.
Match, which is him and another friend of mine. They do Cage Match podcast where they do Nicolas Cage movies. And he loves Nicolas Cage. She hates Nicolas Cage. So they both have to watch it. So
that's pretty great.
they've done stuff all the way.
Yeah,
from,
they're going like chronologically, or are they doing?
I think
are
they're
they
just kind of going
they're
all
just
over. They've gone
wherever?
from anywhere from Wild at Heart to Willy's Wonkaland, or Willy's
Wonderland.
Wonderland.
Willy's
That's pretty
Wonka
cool.
Wonder
Wonkaland.
Silent Nicolas Cage Land.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to
So
them.
they're really cool. They are on the Far Side. He has a
Yeah.
Far-Sided Network is what his podcast network is. He does
Yeah.
that, and he does a bunch of movie reviews as well.
That's pretty cool.
Has a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of writers, and it's a really cool thing. So I just want to shout that out. We'll tag it and
Yeah.
tag it, bag it, you know.
Yeah.
The whole
Do our
fucking deal.
usual. This episode's sponsored by. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, it's cool.
But yeah, we can get into the what did we watch?
I can start. I'll just give my
You know what I
couple
mean? Like
quick
get into
ones.
the
Yeah,
little
dude,
thingy,
what are we
little thingy
watching?
jingy. You can tell people what shirt you're wearing today.
Why? Oh, I'm wearing my
You're wearing
Bruce
a special
Springsteen.
shirt.
It's not really that
It's a
special.
special shirt.
I'm wearing a Bruce Springsteen shirt. I saw Bruce Springsteen the other night.
Oh, the other, yeah.
Last night.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's just like no big deal. It's like a typical Tuesday night.
Dude, it's not like
Wednesday night.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Just say it. I don't know. People might be interested that you went to see Bruce Springsteen.
Why
It's
are
not
you
like
fired up right now?
people might be like, "Oh, that's cool. That's
Be
cool."
like, I love the Boss and Texas Chainsaw, and that's it.
I
Yeah,
don't know. You can have some character.
that's true. Yeah, I saw Springsteen. It was pretty fun.
That's
It was a
cool.
late night, but we're
Yeah.
we're pushing through. So I watched. We went to go see Inside Out 2, which was pretty good
Oh, I saw that.
in theater.
It's good.
It wasn't. I feel like it was good that we saw it the one time, but like I think people we were talking to about it were like, "This is so emotional," and I was just like, Nah, like I don't know. It's just like an animated, it's just an animated movie.
Yeah.
I feel like
They're like, but like she's anxiety. I'm like, yeah, like if you're not an adult and you don't wake up with screaming anxiety every day, like yeah, it's part of the program. Like, what are you gonna do? But it was good though. I mean, those movies they always do a killer job with that kind of stuff.
I feel like I'll weep when I see this one.
You will weep.
I feel like it.
You think so? You're gonna think about some sad stuff.
No, I just feel like it's gonna get me.
Really?
Usually that kind of stuff does.
Yeah. And
Daddy's Home too. Every time. I've seen that way more times. I've probably seen that more times than I've seen some good movies.
like Olivia, don't come in.
Nah, for real. I'm not joking.
Daddy's Home 2.
Daddy's Home 2. Last scene.
I haven't seen 1 or 2, so I can't.
Do they know it's Christmas time? John Cena's on there. Everyone's singing it. Oh my god! I'm doing. Yeah, that song's playing.
And you're just it's just
Lithgow,
a mess.
John Cena, Marky Mark, and Mel Gibson, and all their families all trapped in a
what a
movie
lineup!
Theater, and you're just like, I'm just doing the fight it, and I'm like, I'm fine.
You're like, oh, I'm fine.
And then like your vision gets blurry because you're crying, but you haven't admitted it yet, and you're just like, no, I'm cool.
But like, yeah, but just don't look at me or touch me.
Like, there's some in my eye.
Some in my eye.
No, I'm fine. I'm just raw dogging this. I'm fine. All right. So, anyways, continue.
So yeah, I watched Inside Out 2, Breakfast Club. I just feel like I throw that movie on like every day at this point. And then My Cousin Vinny, and it was Emily's first time seeing that movie, so it was a big day. I was more excited than she was. I think.
You know what? I never saw that.
Really?
What the fuck, Jack?
I know, dude.
That's
Jesus
one of those
Christ,
ones
go,
that like
let's
slip
pack
through
it
the.
up,
dude.
We're
What? No,
out-
that's
like,
that's
we're out
disrespectful.
of here.
You have to watch it tonight. I don't.
All right,
care
that's
what
our
you're-
next
just
episode.
slip
So
through the
just
cracks.
stay tuned.
Whatever you're watching tonight, or whatever you're doing tonight, Aaron. Sorry, Jack has to watch this movie.
Yeah.
We should watch it with her. You're gonna show her cinema
I know.
masterpiece with a strong female lead in a movie that doesn't
Yeah,
seem like it's
dude.
gonna be.
She wants to watch it.
It doesn't.
too.
It's not set up to be like a strong female movie, but she fucking dominates.
Yeah.
And like,
Everyone's just like basically groveling because they can't keep up with her. She's like,
Marissa Tomei's like, she's come on, you know.
yeah, come on. I mean, come on.
Come
I mean,
on.
Madon, come on. But
Yeah.
also, she fucking wrecks people in this movie.
Yeah, she obliterates every character she interacts
like if
with.
we thought Eminem was a wordsmith,
yeah,
let me
Come
tell
on,
you
dude.
something. Move aside, Marshall.
we get it.
I don't know how you're going to compare
Yeah,
those
that was
two,
it. This has been
Marshall Mathers and
that might be the hottest take so far. But that was. I think I watched a couple other things, so I can't remember. I don't know. Oh, we started watching Veep, which has been really good.
Okay.
It's really funny.
I think I got to go back.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
What's his name? He plays Buster in Arrested Development. I can't remember the name of his character, but like
Who gives a shit?
that, it's just
He's so
the
funny.
show is so funny. Like there are times you're like cracking up out loud, which is like you watch a show and sometimes you just get a little like that's funny, but like this one, it's been genuinely like cackling out loud. It's so funny.
And who's the guy with the gap teeth? He kills me.
Oh, I can't. I know he's like
He
the
is
correspondence between the
unbelievable.
vice president and the White House, and
And
he's
then
just like such a tool.
Oh
It's
my God.
awesome.
And then obviously Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah,
is
she's
like,
incredible in that.
oh, she's like fine wine. I don't understand it. Well, I'm just talking about also acting wise. Like I
Yeah.
feel like she's even better. Like I love Elaine, but I feel like she crushes in Veep.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. So that's all I got. Jack, what do you got? We'll let Keith bring it home.
Okay.
I don't think you want this.
Oh, okay.
I watched a bunch of things. I did watch Maxine.
Oh, was that good?
Yeah,
And
boy.
I really like that. I don't know
Is
if
that the third
yeah,
movie in that
third.
thing? Okay.
And honestly, I thought it was awesome. Like, I almost liked it better than X. Like,
Okay.
I just really liked that movie. I thought it was good. Our buddy Bones was shitting on it.
Yeah, but Bones is
he didn't
just,
really
Bones
like
is
it.
just Bones though.
Really?
But I was like, so when I went into it, I was like, maybe whatever, I'll check it out. And I watched it. I'm like, damn, this movie's good.
Yeah.
That's
That's like pretty new, right? Like relatively.
Yeah,
That's
June,
the
right?
latest
Came out,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's June.
I watched Suicide Kings with my buddy Sean. That movie's awesome. That's like a 90s. I'm on like a walk-in phase after we watched True Romance. And,
I got some for you too then.
And I watched Suicide Kings. That was like a movie I used to watch in middle school all the time, and I hadn't seen it in a while.
Yeah.
Watched that. That's really good. I then watched New Nightmare.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because that was on Shudder.
A Wes Craven.
And if I saw that, it was a long time. I didn't remember any of it. And
Yeah.
I definitely liked that movie. That was good. I mean, that's the only other nightmare that Wes Craven directed.
Yeah, because he did 1, 2, and New Nightmare, right?
No, he didn't do 2.
3,
He
and
did
New
1
Nightmare.
and New Nightmare. That's it.
Oh, that was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's kind of wild.
I thought he did 1 too, but
Yeah.
I checked it out. Then I watched this movie, Night Beast.
Night Beast.
Which was also on Shudder.
Wait, you didn't watch that with us?
No, then I watched it
Oh,
because you guys were talking about it, so I watched it.
That's a piece of
That
shit.
movie's insane.
It's a piece of shit.
The acting's horrible. The monster's great,
Yeah.
but yeah, that movie is definitely, if you're looking for something like to give you some
real
laughs,
stinker.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first 30 minutes is kind of unbelievable. It's almost like Bad Taste vibe.
Yeah.
Like just like ridiculous. And you're like, okay,
Yeah,
cool. And then
it
just
was on
really-
that level. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then J.J. Abrams, that's his first job. He does like the sound for the
Yeah,
movie,
I saw
which is
that.
insane.
That is pretty wild. Yeah.
I finally saw Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
All right, give it to me.
So me and Aaron watched Deadpool 2 just to get a
Ready.
refresher
Yeah.
before we saw it. Deadpool Wolverine was amazing. Like, that was one of the best movies I've seen in theaters in a long time.
Is
Like,
it still
just
in
for
theaters?
it factor
Yeah.
and wow factor? Like,
Yeah.
it was just really cool. And, like, Reynolds and Jackman together is just awesome.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
And then on Keith's recommendation, I watched Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, which is also a walk-in movie.
Okay.
90s walk-in movie.
I recommend this in like February, by the way. I'm just letting you know.
Really? Yeah.
Well,
It's August.
I couldn't
yeah.
find it till now.
Still haven't gotten my Bloodsport stuff, but it's fine. I'm just kidding.
No, he's not.
I couldn't find it till now.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't on anything. And then I finally found it. I watched it. And I thought it was awesome. Like, there's a lot of people in it. It's like, almost like it's trying to be like a Tarantino-esque movie.
Yeah.
But and I think they do a good job of it. But yeah, there's a lot of people like Walken's in it, Buscemi's in it.
Oh, that's cool.
But
do you think there
Andy
was, like-
Garcia is like the lead?
And Bill Nunn's also in it. I love that dude.
Yeah, Treat Williams.
Yeah. It's
What
a
year
good-
was this one out?
90. Oh, I'm gonna pull it. 97.
Late 90s?
Yeah.
97.
Like, do you
I
think there was a meeting where they were like, look,
95.
Tarantino's been really on his
I don't
feet.
know.
We need to,
I
we need
read that too.
95.
They 95. They call it
Yeah.
a Pulp Fiction knockoff, but dude, if you
It's not really.
it's not.
that,
If you get into actual
but-
like gritty crime 90s, 80s,
Yeah.
90s shit, like Abe
they're going to
Ferrara,
overlap in some.
You
Yeah,
actually when you
and-
actually extend past Tarantino and like Heat
Yeah.
and like the
Yeah.
other things that people were like, oh,
Yeah.
that sounds like
That's
Pulp
just a
Fiction, because people
knockoff,
say
yeah.
the same shit about Suicide Kings. Oh, that's too much like Pulp Fiction. Okay,
I
is
know.
it really, or is it you've just seen Pulp Fiction?
Well, it's like
Yeah.
it's like
and
you
Reservoir
know,
Dogs.
Yeah.
it's like one of those classic movies where like they do something and it goes wrong and then all this
Yeah.
crazy stuff happens. So it's good.
Yeah, and I guess it is non-linear a little bit. It goes back and forth. I guess that
A
is.
little bit.
I guess
yeah.
But I don't
Tarantino's the
know why
only
that's
person to
like-
ever do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know why that's like.
But
Yeah.
I mean, that's stories have been doing that for years. Like,
I would
for
say
yeah.
it's definitely the
centuries,
B
yeah.
tier of those type of movies, just because not only because it's bad, but just because it's like if you've seen all of the A tier, then you go start.
If you're
looking for this
comparing it
shit.
to some of those other ones,
Then
it'd
you,
be
like,
really
start
It
disappointing,
was
digging
yeah.
top of the B. It was
Yeah,
good.
it was
good.
And then the last movie I watched besides this movie that we're covering today is I gave this another watch because when I watched it the first time I was kind of falling asleep and I didn't remember the whole thing. In the Mouth of Madness
Oh, dude.
that is a
And
fucking.
I love
killer.
that movie.
That
That
movie
movie's so good.
is awesome.
So you're on Shutter right now, is what you're telling
Yeah,
me.
Yeah.
Sam Neill.
That's all.
Someone got
Sam
a
Neill. Yeah, I'm
subscription,
ripping
yeah.
Shutter right
That all
now.
got added to
Sam
Shudder.
Neill is awesome in that.
It's so
movie.
good.
and that whole story is crazy.
Yeah,
dude.
what is
Like,
Sutter Kane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you read Sutter Kane?
There was
That's like a good.
Did I tell you about? It was like something on Instagram. Storm King Comics is John Carpenter and his wife Sandy King. They have a comic book series. Like
Oh, really?
they publish comic books. They were selling screen used Sutter Kane novels that were just like fake
What?
wrap
Oh.
things, and you could buy a set of like the 3 books
Oh,
that
that's
was in
cool.
it. But it was $600, and I was like,
yeah.
I would pay like $100
Not that cool.
to have like one of these just to be like,
Yeah,
this is
right, yeah.
screen used in the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty cool.
But they're not real. They're not really novels, though, right?
No,
They're
no,
just
but it's like the prop book. But they did. It was one of the ones that was on display, so the cover looked really nice. And it was
that's
like
cool.
like they had the stand-ins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how did these get here? It was one of those
Oh.
like front-facing ones that you could buy, but like the whole set was $600.
Okay.
And I was like, I asked if I could just buy one,
Yeah.
and they were like, "We're just selling them as sets." And I was like, ah.
You know what's cool? I saw, because I was just going through John Carpenter stuff after I watched that. And I love John Carpenter. But I never knew this, that he calls 3 movies his Apocalypse trilogy. Have you heard this?
Yeah, it's the thing.
Prince of Darkness and In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah.
So that's like his Apocalypse trilogy.
Yeah.
Which I never really knew that. And I was like, that's kind of cool. Like,
yeah.
Those 3 movies kind of...
Well, they all end basically being like, we're all fucked.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Which is, yeah, that's awesome, though.
But that was pretty cool to find out. That was a little Carpenter fact I found out. But what about you, Keith? What'd you watch,
All
man?
right, so I need to do this. My brain needs me to do this, so I'm really sorry in advance.
That's
so
fine.
I'll just do it fast. I'll speak fast. I watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I watched Part 2. I watched 3. And I watched 4. Yeah.
Really
and I
happy.
watched the remake.
Yeah.
And I might have watched Leatherface, which is the 2017 prequel to the movie.
Yeah.
So
Is that good?
I don't know. It's good. I like
Leatherface?
it. Leatherface? Yeah, because it's directed by the people French directors that did Inside, the 2007 French hardcore horror movie that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
They did it. It's brutal. It gives him, if you need, I don't know. So it depends on what you like. If you like world building, I like the origin of things.
Yeah. Like,
It's
does it tie in?
Yeah.
They do a good job.
Yeah, it shows his he makes up an origin.
Oh, that's
Or
pretty,
they
that's
make
pretty
an
cool,
origin.
though. Yeah.
Yeah.
They make up an origin for
But
him.
it's not like he came from outer space. And you're like, whoa.
No. He's a human.
He just
Talking to you.
changed it,
Yeah.
He's a
just
human.
Talking to you, Jason.
Lily-
X. Yeah.
Lily Taylor plays the mom, Verna. She plays the actual mom, and like there, you see Nubbins as a kid. You see him as a kid. He goes to like a psychiatric ward where he gets like mistreated. Then they break out,
Yeah.
and he tries to like not be bad, but then they fuck him up, and then
And then he's like, oh, I'm definitely getting
and
a
then there's
chainsaw.
just like so it's like Julian Maury and I gotta be saying that right, and Alexander Bustillo, I think they crush. I think Inside was a crazy movie. They did that movie, the 2017 Leatherface. Do you need to see it? No, but if you wanted,
if
I
you
don't know.
like the universe, you'll be pleased.
But it
with
has nothing like you're not going to get the same vibe as the original, nothing like that. So I also watched Eggshells, which is Tobe Hooper's first movie. It's like an experimental, like
you watched
psychedelic, like hippie kind of movie, but there are shots that they redo in Texas Chainsaw.
Oh, that's pretty
There's
cool.
like an anthill scene where they show the road with an anthill in the front. They do the same shot in Texas, and they also do the first time you see him open the kill door, where that's like under the steps.
Yeah.
They use a house. It's a different house, but it's the same exact shot. So he does like it's pretty cool. It's like his student film. It's almost like his Dark Star.
Yeah.
There's like a weird supernatural thing in the basement. Kind of reminds you of something that Dark Star would have, but it's like hippies in the 60s. I don't. It's actually
that's pretty cool though.
I mean,
that's cool.
Is there a plot? Not really, but like I think the music. I really like ethereal, industrial kind of sound.
Yeah.
In general, and like the score of Texas, and then that music, like the way that they're just scored in, like whatever the fuck he's doing in there, like that like does something for my brain. And so like that movie's kind of like that, where there's a bunch of quick, like crazy psychedelic things that are happening.
That's pretty cool.
So it's definitely his, And then I also watched Deranged, which is another movie that came out in 1974, also based on Ed Gein, but based really on him. It's actually played by the Shovel Slayer, a young, like from Home Alone. Him as a younger guy,
really?
like 20 years ago.
So this one, the reference Keith is making, so the mask Leatherface character was loosely based on Ed Gein, the serial killer, and some of his crimes.
So they basically
it's inspiration from his case.
They basically made
Inspiration,
Ed Gein a cannibalistic family, but this movie Deranged, which came out the same time, like literally, like they couldn't have stolen ideas from each other.
Yeah. Because they were filming at the same exact time.
It's actually just Ed
right
Gein
next to each
and like his
other.
story of his life, where he dug up his mother.
More happens.
Brought her into her house, started digging up other people, just like the events of Texas Chainsaw, and then started killing people.
Yeah.
And then you get what I told you, the Terrifier scene. I didn't realize is actually the most vile scene in Terrifier is actually how
Terrifier 1, the upside down
Ed Gein
individual.
let's
say
it leads to how Ed Gein it gets caught.
Okay.
Has a lady upside down. Cuts her out, blah blah blah. You know the deal. It's like
sure.
good Saturday morning cartoon.
We do
how it goes.
We have an old episode covering Terrifier. If you're curious to hear exactly what scene we are, we go very in depth into that whole scene. So.
All right, and I'll do my
Those
theater
movies
movies.
are nuts.
I'll do my theater movies, and I'll keep them quick. I saw Blink twice last night.
Oh, you did?
The Zoe Kravitz movie. Yeah, it was like a early screener last night. Me and Olivia went. That movie's awesome.
Yeah.
Don't really want to say anything about it except see it. There are some parts though that are triggering probably, but the movie, the payoff is amazing. I think the movie is just like it's Zoe Kravitz's first movie. I think she killed it. The cast is crazy. Like
you had Channing Tatum. Right?
Yeah, Channing Tatum, Slater, and Haley Joel Osment as the guys, and then you have I forget her name, the main. I'll have to look it up because I have to give her a shout out. She killed it.
Keith was like, "Wait, this isn't Magic Mike 4."
No, I mean he's in it, but he's not even like Naomi Ackie. She actually was Whitney Houston in the Whitney Houston movie, which I have not seen. Oh yeah, Jack, you're not allowed to watch this movie. Baby's in it, but Adria Arjona is in it. I know that name probably is grating to you because you said Hitman's the worst movie you've ever seen, and she's in that.
She's in that,
and she's amazing.
Oh, no.
And she's amazing in this movie. Yeah. So, but you're not allowed to watch it. I'll tell Erin she can watch it, but you can't. So
I'll watch it. I'll see if she still sucks.
Yeah, you'll like have to close your eyes for like the whole movie. Yeah, you're an idiot, dude. Like, out of all the movies that you like, that movie you're like, fuck this movie. This is where I
draw the line.
And I'm like, dude, the movie was like decent.
She sucks.
And she was here. I think she was great in it, but yeah, whatever, dude. We get it.
We get it.
So I did see Romulus.
You're trying to go to that again.
I wanted to go again.
Yeah, I'd be down to see that movie for sure.
Yeah, I did see that. That movie's insane.
Oh, you already saw that?
I saw it. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Me and Olivia went to go see it on Saturday. She's like, "Are we going to see Romulus tonight?" I was like,
"Oh yeah."
Why are you so perfect? So then we went and saw that, and it was awesome.
That's something my wife would never say.
Yeah.
Like we were like
seeing
we had like a full day.
If she said that,
we had already done like a full day of activities.
Yeah.
We had a full day of activities. We were at like this party for her and her friends and all this, and like I was pretty tired. I was like, man,
Keith got a little sweet treat.
And then she's like, she said to me, "Are we going to see Romulus tonight?" And I was like, "What's up?" So we did see that. I did see Trap.
Oh.
My boy Justin, the guy that I was telling him about his podcast, he got free pass to that, so he gave me that. I did see that. That was okay. I'm glad I saw it for free, but it was okay. Like it's like half concert movie, half serial killer-ish. I don't know. I don't want to spoil anything, but I actually thought like the second half of the movie, the first half of the movie is the trailer. Like I was like really worried that the whole movie was in the trailer. Movie kind of takes some unbelievable turns that like nobody would ever just do. Like the situations are just like that could never like nobody would ever be that stupid to make that mistake. So you get into these situations that you're like, what the fuck? But Hartnett, I think, plays a pretty serious role. Like
he's coming back on the scene now.
He's pretty cool in that. I would say it's a decent movie. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it was worth a watch.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. And then I saw Oddity, which is like a smaller indie horror movie. I don't really want to say anything about it. I think people should just watch it. I thought it was really cool. It was a huge win for...
Did they do like a wide... Is it like a pretty wide release? Like, is it in theaters everywhere? Or is it like direct to
I saw it just at the smaller Oaks Theater. So, I mean, it wasn't even in King of Prussia, at least when I saw. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's smaller, but I think it's going to be a Shudder movie. I forget what streaming service it's going to be on. Yeah. But Oddity, that was pretty good. It's cool. It's kind of original, kind of brutal, short, nothing like... fancy, which I like. Just kind of bare bones. Good story. I love horror.
There you go.
Nice.
All right, we got
that's
some good ones.
And
so if you guys didn't,
nothing but more to go. So we can just if you would just keep that moving, I can just forget that I have more stuff on here.
That's fine. Yeah, let's do that. No, I'm just fucking with you. Yeah, so we got a lot of movies. If you need more to watch, we'll just give you Keith's personal number at that point, and then you guys can hang out. Yeah. Who's ready to talk Texas freaking Chainsaw 1974?
Oh!
So that is the movie that we are covering. He said 74. Directed by Toby Hooper. Co-wrote with Kim Henkel. Henkel?
Let's go with Henkel.
I'd say Heinkel.
I don't know.
Like
there's no I in there. I don't know how you came up with that. We're going to go with Henkel.
Wow, that was cool. I probably should have practiced that before we went live. But
Toby Hooper is some crazy movies.
Yeah. Man. We got to give it up for the Hoopster. Rest in peace.
For the Hoopster.
He's a master of horror.
He is.
What else has he done?
He
did movie Eggshells. He did Salem's Lot, which is next. Or no, this is before Salem's Lot. Salem's Lot comes next. Then he did Poltergeist. He actually directed Poltergeist.
Oh, yeah. It's Poltergeist.
And then he also...
Night Terrors.
Night Terrors. That's later. That's 90s.
Yeah, this is in the 90s.
Eaten Alive.
Did Eaten Alive, which comes out right after this. One time I did see Texas Chainsaw Eaten Alive back to back at the Mahoning, and that was awesome. Eaten Alive is a pretty cool, grindy movie.
That was a cool movie.
And then Funhouse.
Funhouse,
one of
liked a lot.
Jack's movies.
Yeah.
And then Life Force, you get some space vampires. That's a really sick movie.
Invaders from Mars.
I did watch. Oh, did I say I watched that? I did watch that this week.
Oh, you did?
Well, Life Force?
Invaders from Mars, which actually has the kid is watching Life Force in the movie, which is kind of cool.
That's cool. That is really neat.
And then Texas Chainsaw 2, I did watch that this week as well.
So he did Texas 2 12 years after Texas 1. That's crazy.
I did know, because I thought this was like which is pretty common for these movies, like low budget original movie kills it, and then a big studio instantly wants to pick it up and like get right into a sequel. But this one, it was 12 years later.
12 years
that's
later.
Insane.
And
then you ever see Body Bags?
Body Bags is good. That's
John Carpenter and Tobe Hooper. Like it's an anthology.
Oh, really?
Cool. Like you know how like Creep Show's King and Romero.
Yeah,
it's like their version of like Creep Show, basically.
That's pretty cool.
And
that's pretty cool.
And Carpenter is the mortician, or what is? I guess it's a mortician. The guy in charge of the dead people.
Yeah, that was good.
Mortician.
I watched that.
Yeah,
I watched that last year. That was good.
And I'll throw out The Mangler too. That movie's insanely awesome. It's another Stephen King story. But Robert Englund's in it. It's about this laundry machine that I don't want to give it away.
I'm already
I was gonna say
you could just leave it there.
Yeah, it's this evil killer laundry machine. It sounds fucking stupid.
Yeah, that does.
It's like a laundry press.
Okay.
Dude, the movie is awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Robert Englund's like the evil owner, and he has like
he's the washing.
He has
machine.
the Forrest Gump. He has the Forrest Gump braces.
As the washing machine.
He has the Forrest Gump braces, and he is just fucking so mean. I want to say what happens, but like I don't, because like you guys should watch it. It's like I was taken aback by how good it actually was.
That is like
it almost made me watch the sequel.
I'll check it out. I like Tobe Hooper, so
yeah. But this was I think this was his first thing that he did.
His first real one.
First real one, that he did. So it came out October 11th, 1974. 83 minutes. This movie is alarmingly short. The budget for this one, so I have two numbers that I'm looking at right here as a range. So I think they had an initial funding and then they got a little bit more. Somewhere between 80 and 140,000 for the overall budget when all was said and done. But the box office is, again, these are the numbers that I'm seeing, so take these with a grain of salt. But over 30 million is what this movie has made.
Yeah.
But just think about like the IP alone, like just this franchise.
And now there's a video game, the online video game.
Yeah,
I heard people talking about that in line for the movie last night.
Really?
They're talking about how they play the game, and I'm
That's
like,
wild.
dude, I can't imagine how much money goes into that game.
Well, yeah,
it's
when
pretty incredible.
You were like, I know when I was growing up, like this was always one of those movies that was like, because I was into horror, and this was always one of those Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Texas Chainsaw, like it always was talked about like that and like Halloween and stuff, and you're like, oh, I gotta watch this movie.
These used to make rounds on the Sci-Fi Channel for sure.
Yeah, but like you always like people talked about it, and you were like, oh, this is a movie I have to see.
Yeah, and
it definitely lives up to the hype.
Oh yeah, this is
I definitely saw the remake first because I was available when I was 15, and then I saw this.
And then you went back to the basics. Did you guys have any like development notes or anything before we get into it?
So I did watch. What is the documentary called? I told you what it was called. I watched the Texas Chainsaw documentary. Oh my god! Give me 1 second. Do some music there.
I'll do some music. Drink Dr. Pepper now.
Shocking Truth. I was going to say the spoken truth. The shocking truth, and it's awesome. It's about as long as the movie, but it has like Marilyn Burns, Tobe Hooper, Kim Henkel, all the sound people. I forget his name. The guy does the sound, but it has all them in there, and they just interview them and they talk about it. And yes, $60 million or $60,000 is what they originally had, and they had a production company called Vortex, which is what he went through, and he had to keep selling parts of that away to get more money because at some point, like he couldn't pay actors.
Yeah.
So like.
And all these actors were no name.
Everybody,
they were just basically.
They were no name, but like they
we'll
have
let
to
you
make,
be in a movie. Like,
right. There's no one that's big yet, but at the same time, like he couldn't. They ran out of money at all. So he was making. He was basically getting people to sign contracts for IOUs. Like, oh yeah, you're going to make money. Yeah. He's basically selling more.
It's like once we sell this, once the movie makes it, you're
more of
entitled
the movie.
And it was like a grueling shoot. I heard
more of the Vortex, more of all that, right? So
heat wave, and just bad.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
So $60,000. He edited and scored the movie in his house. Like
That's pretty cool.
He'd be editing the movie in his one room, and the guy would be doing the score in the other room. They were using like insane. That's why he got all those unique sounds. They had some insane like African instruments.
Yeah.
They had like they did their whole score themselves. That's why it sounds so crazy.
That is cool.
But then they had basically had to keep selling and selling. And they sold it. I think they ended up selling more than they could handle, and then no one would pick it up, and then that's when Bryanston Pictures picks it up.
Yeah.
They were famous for the movie Deep Throat, that like porn movie. But they were a mob-run organization, so they picked it up, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll distribute this." So they basically picked it up, took all the money, put it on the. They're the reason. But they're also the reason that it went on the theater circuit, and it went right into the drive-thrus, and that's how they made the millions of dollars instantly off this movie, because everyone's like, "Oh my god!" It just spread like wildfire.
In '74,
so
this
they
thing
made all
coming
this
out.
money.
Yeah.
People were probably like, "Holy fuck!" Dude.
Yeah.
They made all this
Like,
money.
what
and
is
then
this?
Franklin is interviewed, and they're all interviewed about how much money they were making, how much money they made, and they were making like the one guy was like, "Yeah, he made like $47 or something like that." They were basically unable to like feed their families off the money they were actually making off because they didn't realize that they were doing options for fractions of a fraction of a fraction inside of a company that owned the movie. Like multiple companies owned the movie, so it wasn't just like, oh, that $100 million, I have a percentage of that. It's like you have a percentage of that.
Yeah.
So they made no money. Like nobody made money on
that
it.
Sucks.
And like what Jack was saying, it was 32 days, I think it was, and it was 100 degrees.
It was supposed
outside.
to be 2 weeks. It took 4 weeks.
And they did 16-hour days. And the longest scene, I think they said, was the longest shoot was the dinner scene. It took them 27 straight hours.
Yeah.
To do it.
Sucks.
Well,
yeah, that sucks.
And like that is crazy. 27 hours.
That is a lot.
I'll reveal one of my phone facts because I had one about that, and it was
While Jack's looking for this, as a quick side note, I just looked up the Bryanston Pictures. They also released Dark Star.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is
same
cool.
year.
Yeah, same year.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty cool. And Return of the Dragon. Pretty
nice.
cool. Yeah.
So John Dugan, who played Grandpa, apparently he got into his makeup. It took him 5 hours to get into the makeup. And he said, "I'm never doing this again. So I'm filming all my scenes today."
Right now.
And
Damn.
they filmed that scene, and it was a 100-degree day. But they had all the like shades blocked off because it was during the day. They wanted to seem like nighttime or whatever. And it got up to 120 degrees. The meat was rotting on the table.
Ugh.
They said people's body odor was so terrible. Some crew members passed out or became sick from the smell.
God.
Edwin Neal, who plays the hitchhiker, he said filming that scene was the worst time of my life, and I had been in Vietnam, and people were people trying to kill me.
Yeah.
So I guess that shows how bad it was.
Yeah.
He also said if he ever saw Tobe Hooper, he would kill him.
Really?
Like he was
Jeez.
he was that mad about.
He was
like,
that bummed out.
But like that's like so that was a 36-hour filming process.
Yeah, that's insane. I
5
can't
of them to get in
imagine.
the makeup, and then that guy's like, "I'm doing all of them
Like
now."
we're filming everything.
Yeah, like I'm the any scene with Grandpa
Yeah.
we're doing right now. Like,
Well, Grandpa's here.
And then
Yeah.
on top of that, they couldn't get
yeah, Grandpa's here.
they couldn't get the makeup back off him. It was like sealed to his face.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean,
was
if
so
you see
hot,
that,
probably,
if
yeah.
you watch those scenes, like it's intense.
It just
makeup.
looks like
it's-
pounds of.
I will say though,
Yeah.
for all the shit he talked, he did come back and play the grandfather in Texas Chainsaw
He
3D.
did, he
so
did.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know. He's like, oh, they're doing this one 3D. I gotta get in on that.
Yeah,
that's
one,
gonna be the
I didn't
technology
rewatch
of the
that
future.
one, but that one actually features him, Marilyn Burns, and I think the dude that plays Franklin and the dude that plays the father. I'm pretty sure all four of them are in the new 2013 one, which is cool to me. But the movie's like, it's okay.
So before we keep talking, should I do the? Do you want me to do a quick plot synopsis just to catch people up?
I thought you were gonna give the people what they need to hear.
What? When? Oh, is that what the people need to hear?
The
yeah.
the fucking Star Wars intro.
Yeah, that's true. So the first line in this, I'm not going to do I'm not going to do I'm going to do like an abridged version of the plot. So the movie opens up with this, that you basically are led in with this one screen of text. It's basically like Keith said, since Star Wars, like kind of scrolling up. It's supposed to be like a teleprompter, I think, is
yeah.
But and then basically this is how you're led into the movie. So it's the film which you're about to see is an account of the tragedy which befell a group of 5.
No. Read it in your voice. Read it in the voice you were doing earlier.
Oh, okay.
You just did this perfect earlier.
All right, absolute silence, please. Thank you. The film in which you are about to see is an account of the tragedy which befell a group of 5 youths, in particular Sally Hardesty and her invalid brother, Franklin. Brother. Yeah, I just ruined that with the voice. All right, hold on, I'll start again. Brother.
Not her little brother.
Her little brother, dude. All right, no, this one's for real.
Oh,
now,
fuck.
all right. That just stays between us and everyone listening. All right. The film which you are about to see is an account of the tragedy that befell a group of 5 youths, in particular Sally Hardesty and her invalid brother Franklin. It is all more tragic in that they were young, but had they lived very, very long lives, they could not have expected, nor would they have wished to see as much of the mad and macabre as they were to see that day. For them, an idyllic summer afternoon drive became a nightmare. The events of that day led to the discovery of one of the most bizarre crimes in the annals of American history, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, and that leads you in.
That's all. How funny is that? That's John Larroquette.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's really. Oh, I didn't know that.
And
That's
apparently,
really funny. Yeah.
he said what he got paid to do that was a joint,
Really?
a rolled joint.
Yeah, they
pretty
were like,
cool.
well, we were gonna give him like $100, but we couldn't even afford that, so joint.
So we
Here's
already
the-
rolled it.
Here's
so,
a joint,
yeah.
buddy.
So I'll do, like I said, I'll blow through the. Or do we want to do the cast real quick? Who plays
let's
who
hit the
before I dive
cast.
into it?
Let's hit the cast. Let's go because we got to talk
Yeah.
about the original Scream Queen. Everyone can say Jamie Lee Curtis.
Well, can we get? How about we do the plot first, so we can get basically everything out on the table?
Yeah, that's
hey,
good. That's good.
hey, Nick. It's almost like you're the host, so just do whatever the fuck you want.
I just think it's really cool that you said give the people what they want to hear, and then
I forgot I said that. I'm sorry, man.
No, it's okay. You're out of here.
Yeah,
I'm
run
a
through the
piece of
plot, and
shit.
then we'll hit the cast.
Okay, yeah, that's good. So, in the early hours of August 18th, 1973, a grave robber steals several remains from a cemetery near Newt, Texas. The robber ties a rotting corpse and other body parts onto a monument, creating a grisly display that is discovered by a local resident at sunrise. That is essentially the opening of the entire movie. So, driving a van, 5 teenagers take a road trip through the area. Sally Hardesty, Jim, Jerry, Pam, Kirk, and Sally's paraplegic brother Franklin. They stop at a cemetery, a family cemetery, to check the grave of Sally and Franklin's grandfather, which appears to be undisturbed. This is basically, they think they're people grave robbing, and they were like, oh, our grandfather's buried there. We want to just check in and make sure that nothing has happened. When they're in the area, they soon pick up a hitchhiker who starts talking about a family who worked at an old slaughterhouse. He ends up... a whole bunch of weird shit happens, I'll just say that. He ends up cutting his own hand open. This dude is like clearly very, very disturbed. He's showing them Polaroids of like slaughtered cattle and stuff like that. And there's a really great line that he says, my family's always been in meat. And you just kind of leave it as like, wow, that guy was fucking wild. And then it gets dark. They kick him out of the van. He chases after them, basically bleeding. And they are just like, all right, on with our trip. So they're still driving through. You learn that they're actually trying to find their old family house. It's basically an abandoned house in the area since they were already visiting their grandfather. His grave. They want to go and see an old house that was owned by their parents. So the group get out of this van. They kind of are meet some of the locals that are like, yeah, maybe you should just keep going. You don't really want to stop here. There's no fuel, like whatever. So they decide to press on. And you find out, so this family is owned by the Hardesty family. They get to the house, try and knock up to see what's going on, and then they find out that there is another house nearby with rundown cars, but there is a gas-powered generator, so they're like, perfect, we'll get some gas, we get to see the house, this is awesome. Kirk enters the house through an unlocked door while Pam waits outside, and as he's searching the house, a large man wearing a mask made of skin appears and just bonks him on the head with a hammer and kills him very brutally. Pam is then brutally killed as soon after. Trying to see what happens, she's hung up on a hook like an old raincoat, which is fun. She attempts to, I don't know why I said it like that. That was kind of weird. So she stumbles into the room. She tries to run away, and it's basically just like there's bones everywhere. There's body parts that are made into furniture, and it's basically just this weird masked figure seems to be killing them off slowly. Darkness is falling, and the rest of the people back at the van are like, "Hey, we don't know where our friends are," so they set out to try and find their friends. They are then ambushed again by this man in the mask. More weird shit happens, and then you find out that this masked character, who you would find out is Leatherface, and his brother, who is the hitchhiker. They basically are a wild family of cannibals that are living in this house, and you find out that they've been trapping people, killing them, eating them, general not chill things. Towards the end of the movie, Sally is the last one left. This is where Keith was, we're going to talk about this a little later. So Sally's the last one left. She is basically at the most bizarre family dinner that you've ever heard of. They're getting ready to basically, this weird family, including Leatherface, they're arguing over who's going to get to kill her. She escapes, and they basically gets away from this whole weird family, leaving Leatherface in the street, dressed in a wonderful suit, waving his chainsaw in the sun. So I like... And that's basically the plot. Like, this movie is really quick. They dive right into it. You're introduced to Leatherface. People start dying right away. And then the movie basically doesn't stop until the last scene. Yeah, and that's the abridged version of the abridged version.
Yeah, like Leatherface hits the screen like 20 minutes in.
Yeah, which is good for a horror movie, yeah.
And he's not really on the screen very much.
No, but he has some good scenes.
That's what I mean. But I think it's cool. It's cool how much people know about Leatherface, but how little he is in most of the movies, how much he's not on the screen.
Yeah.
It's almost like the Jaws effect.
Oh, yeah, I've heard
That's Nick's favorite thing to say.
It is. When you don't see the
That wasn't like a dig. I just don't want you to think that was like, oh, yeah, Nick only knows one thing.
Yeah, dude, it's fine. Whatever.
No, but I mean, that is like...
No, it is. I do like to bring that up a lot. It's like what you don't see is sometimes scarier than what you do see. So the cast for this, Marilyn Burns plays Sally Hardesty. Alan Danziger plays Jerry. Paul A. Partain.
Let's go with that.
As Franklin. William Vale plays Kirk. Terry McMinn plays Pam. Edwin Neal is the hitchhiker. Jim Sydow is the old man. Did I butcher that? Sydow?
No, I think
I'm gonna go with
Jim
that.
Sydow.
Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
That guy's
Gunnar
nuts.
Hansen plays Leatherface, and I think he comes back. Does he come back as Leatherface in some of the other movies?
He's in the 2013 one. Oh, sorry. Yes, Sydow's not in 13. Gunnar is in 13. He plays the boss Sawyer. In the
okay.
One. Yeah, so they came back. Like, that's the only one he came back to. They wanted him for 2, but he would not accept the amount of money.
Yeah, that's
pretty.
pretty.
I think in the interview he said he needed like $3,500 a week or something, which was low enough for him. $3,500 and some kind of stake in the company. And they said, "Nah, we're gonna probably give you $600." And he's like,
"Yeah, I'm out."
Yeah, okay, I did this once. I'm not doing this shit again.
Yeah.
So
which is crazy because then he doesn't do another Chainsaw movie until like you would think like, oh, this guy's gonna be like
he's just
Kane
started
Hodder.
his whole But as a little fun fact, so he was born in Reykjavik, Iceland, so he's Icelandic. He's a big dude.
I do have a follow-on for that.
But when I went to Iceland, I remember one of the guys we were asking. I was like making small talk with one of our tour guides. He goes, Leatherface is from here, and like he was super hyped that he had like a dude from Iceland that was like.
So how do you say that name again?
Reykjavik.
Okay, so there's a movie called the Reykjavik Whale Watching Massacre.
Okay.
Gunnar Hansen is in it.
Oh,
Came
that's
out in
cool.
2009. I've been trying to track it down to watch it. I have not seen it yet, but it's basically Texas Chainsaw on a whaling boat.
Interesting.
I saw one kill scene from it today, and I'm so excited to watch it.
Do you think is it like a region locked thing? Like, do you think if you had like a?
It's just a fucking small movie.
Like it's just hard.
I
find,
I can't find it on Amazon. I did find a physical of it. I might as well just buy it.
Yeah.
But like I've seen
cool.
like clips of it on YouTube, and I'm like, fuck yeah, this is sick.
Yeah, that is
like I saw
cool.
dude. I don't really know the deal. That just the fish people. They call them fish billies on YouTube.
Yeah.
Instead of hillbillies, and he just wrecks this. He wrecks this lady with like an axe in her head, and everyone starts trying to run off. And then this dude jumps with this floaties in, trying to get away from the boat. And he says, the captain of the ship says, "I wonder." He has one eye. He says, "I wonder if I still got it." But it's in Swedish. And then
Icelandic.
Icelandic. I swear it said it was in Swedish. But anyways. It has to be Icelandic. And then he takes this harpoon gun, and he says, I wonder if I still got it. And he gets him from like 100 yards away. He just shoot, and it's like this shot, it just keeps showing the harpooning the person, and just
and then they connect. That's pretty
it's
cool.
fucking sick. I was like, okay, so this is some pretty cool fan shit right here. They're like, let's get Gunnar.
Yeah. Let's get the man, get Leatherface. And then so John Dugan is the grandfather, Was there anyone else that you wanted to shout out in the cast here? Again, it was all people that didn't.
You
do
said
anything.
Edwin Neal is the hitchhiker, right?
I
As
did.
Nubbins.
I did. Yeah.
I like how he gets the name Nubbins after this movie. Like in the second one, they start calling him Nubbins. I wish. Yeah, no, it's cool they don't call him that in this one.
Yeah.
Nubbins, though. What a name.
Yeah, that's something else.
Yeah, we got to talk about the second one a little bit at the end of this.
Yeah, we will.
All right. Let's get
but yeah,
into
so
it.
Sally Hardesty, Marilyn Burns. I call her the original Scream Queen, the original final girl, because she is the actual final girl.
She was great.
And this movie comes out just before Olivia Hussey plays Jess in Black Christmas, who is the final girl to the last scene, and it's left ambiguous if she's alive, but she's pretty much murdered at the end, so she's really not the final girl.
So you're not final if you're dead.
So everybody's like, "Oh,
Can't
yeah,
be
dude,
final.
Can't be final if you're
Jess
dead.
from Black Christmas
Sorry, pal.
is the original final." I'm like, I don't know, dude.
You're not that guy.
Like, why are we
You're
just?
not
Why
that
why does Texas Chainsaw just get thrown away when people are talking about slashers? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's just like, yeah, I guess it's a slasher because it's not a fucking knife. Like, what do you want from him?
Yeah.
It's a hammer.
I mean,
and
I think that is the
a hammer
I think
and a
that is
saw.
the argument. Is that like, I mean, Michael Myers is a knife. Slash.
So let's talk about it.
Like-
Five people in a car driving into a nightmare.
Yeah.
How many times has that been done after this? 5 teens in a car.
15. Oh, I thought you were talking about Nightmare on Elm Street. Or
Just
something.
talking about 5 teens in any car driving anywhere.
Yeah,
Evil
it's a
Dead,
lot.
any movie where there's 5 teens driving in a car
Yeah.
going into
Twilight.
a
Dude, it's
nightmare.
I've seen it 100 times.
I saw it in Texas Chainsaw.
It's-
I'm going to say it's probably the first one. I know it's a
Tales all
van.
the time.
It's a van in this one, but I'm pretty
is a
sure this
van,
is
yeah.
like
It
everyone's
is a
like
van,
it's like a
yeah, but-
prototype movie in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
which is really cool. Yeah, but so I think she's awesome. I like how she screams for the last 27 minutes of the movie about.
Well, there's no. I like basically the only thing, the final scene, like after she breaks out of like the weird family dinner. I think the only sounds is her screaming in the chainsaw. And that's
Yeah,
it.
and so you
Which
have
is
to,
Yeah.
you
awesome.
have to
Like
turn
that's
it down.
so cool.
I was watching it on the projector the one night, and I had to keep turning it down.
Yeah.
Olivia was like asleep, but
It's just like,
all my neighbors can hear it, and there's no sound other than ring, and she's literally
She's
screaming,
screaming.
Oh,
and
she's-
it's so much screaming. All right, so let's talk about how the movie opens. I
All
think
right,
how the
yeah.
movie
Do that.
opens.
Do
So
that.
you get that background, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You get the scrolling story
Yeah.
of like what's going on, and then instantly you just see the corpse on like attached to the grave. And then they're talking about, and then you get the news
Ooh,
broadcast.
Yeah,
the
in the
news. I
background,
love the
yeah.
news broadcast.
And it's talking
Has
about the grave robbers.
Grave robbers through Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all
That's
the stuff
such a
that's
cool
like-
way to like.
And it's talking about like all the pieces
Yeah.
stolen.
And
And
it's
that's
like, like
yeah.
that sound comes out. Yeah,
that fucking
and
noise.
it's all the body parts.
Yeah.
I think they did a really good job. Another movie, I thought that was really similar to Dawn of the Dead, when it's basically like the movie opens with like news reports.
Yeah.
So they're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they've caught you up like in the first 2 seconds.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, yeah, you know, like people are getting up, like dead bodies are walking, and you're like, I love when movies just like set you up, throw you right in, and you're like, all right, let's
Yeah.
get into it.
So this
it's
movie
cool.
definitely takes from Psycho in the way that Psycho did Ed Gein kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then Night of the Living Dead, how like, you know, it was like it's in a real town. It's in
Yeah.
somewhere that's relatable.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, this is really happening. And it's like it feels like it's happening, or well, it happened, but you're like following the story as it happened. It's not like supernatural, like
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's like a ghost story or something like that.
Well, I think what makes this scary as well is like, on top of like, you know, what you don't see is scarier. Everyone to some degree can relate to a drive like this. That you're like, man, how fucking awful would it be if I broke down right here in the middle of
Oh
nowhere?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like that's I mean, and that's what this movie capitalizes on. I think they do a really good job of it. But
Also, the movie takes place on August 18th, 1973.
Mhm.
Last year, without knowing it, I watched this movie on August 18th.
Oh, you
And
did?
then this year, since we were about to do the podcast, I watched it on August 18th.
damn,
Pretty wild.
that is pretty wild. So,
But yeah,
not
the
to
way it
brag.
starts out is awesome, and then immediately you get them in the van. Oh yeah, so I have a note about that shot with the armadillo. So originally they
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
to do. Sorry for us pet fans out there. They wanted to do a dead dog at first.
Yeah.
That was found on the side of the road. And then they were like, "Nah, we can't do that."
Mhm.
So then
Yeah,
they
that would've been a
found.
little
I
much.
think they
Like,
drove by.
yeah.
They drove by a dead
They're like,
horse.
fuck armadillos, dude. Yeah.
So they drove by a dead horse, and they were gonna do that. But I
Oh my
forget what it was.
God.
I think it smelled too bad. It was like too crazy. It was like
I feel
decomposing.
like they're going the opposite direction. They're
So
like, oh, we
then-
got a horse.
Like,
So
we
then
don't
one of the
dog,
guys-
we got a horse.
So
So
we
one-
just kill a guy.
So one of the guys involved with it found this armadillo. He was already dead. He found
Yeah.
it, and he like went home and stuffed it, and like, you know, like
Yeah.
Whatever-
People stayed
what
away
is it
from
called
that
when you
guy
stuff
on
animals?
set. Taxidermy.
taxidermied it. Yeah, made it like official. Like did the old stuff it and rough it, whatever. And then Toby Hooper still wanted to run it over. He wanted the van to come through and smash, and he's like, "You're not coming anywhere near my armadillo."
This is Toby.
That's how we got to
Took
that.
me 3 fucking weeks.
That's how we got the armadillo with the van coming in the background.
That's pretty cool.
So I went from dead dog to dead horse to dead armadillo to just stuffed armadillo.
To a guy getting really attached to stuffed armadillo.
Dude, how about when they pull over and Franklin's peeing?
Oh,
and he's like,
Franklin's in a wheelchair.
He's gonna piss in the coffee pot.
Franklin's
coffee
in
cup?
a wheelchair.
Or coffee?
Yeah.
He's an annoying guy.
We got no keys.
But he's like, he rolls out and they put him on the hill and give him like a coffee cup, and he's like peeing, and this truck flies by. He's like,
he's rolling down the hill.
Oh my god.
So I do have a note for that scene too. So that's the last scene that Franklin's character filmed, and he refused to do it because he wasn't paid yet, and he said, "I won't do this scene because I haven't been paid. I haven't been paid anything yet."
Oh, so the first scene was one of the last ones that they filmed?
Oh, wow.
So actually, cool. Yeah, and I do have another last scene later. But that scene right there, it was his last scene to film, and he's like, "I'm not doing it until I get paid." So when he's rolling, I think you can see it. I saw it slowed down in the documentary. Like you can see it. He's like, "Yep, that was the paycheck stuffed in my pocket right there."
Really?
They paid me in
That's
full.
cool. That's
and
funny.
then I did the scene.
That's hilarious.
That's cool.
So always my favorite thing is to always remember that. And I'm like, damn, that's hilarious.
He's like, I'm putting the cash in my pocket. I'm rolling down that hill. I'll see you next week.
But Nubbins or the hitchhiker, I think he's one of the he's only in for about probably 8 minutes of the movie, but he is one of the best.
Imagine
the Polaroid.
Imagine picking him up.
Yeah.
Like with your friends, and he gets in, and you're just like, what the fuck?
You're like, what's up? Well, there's the line Jerry says after they drop him off. He goes, "That's the last goddamn hitchhiker I ever pick up," which is like accurate. I mean, I don't know why they like. I think they did a really good job of being like, "Hey, buddy, we're gonna not have you in here anymore." Like they do a good job.
When he first gets in, Franklin goes, "I think we just picked up Dracula."
Yeah,
and then he proceeds to fuck up the whole thing.
Yeah,
he cuts
like,
Franklin.
He's like, "That's a nice knife," and then he
cuts himself first.
Yeah.
He cuts himself
I got
first,
this
right?
knife.
Yeah, and he's like waving it, and they're like, "Hey, man, we just picked you up. Maybe don't have a knife and you're out."
And then what's his vibe? He has the fucking Polaroid, takes it, then puts gunpowder on it.
Yeah,
and then lights that. Right, that's what that is.
He takes a picture of Franklin
because he said he's not going to pay him.
Yeah.
For the picture.
That's right.
So so out of nowhere, he like just pulls out his camera, takes a picture of Franklin, then goes, "Oh, you pay me now."
Franklin's like, "He took my picture."
He's like, "Hey, he took my picture." He's like, "Dude, sitting right in front of you." Like,
he's like, "It didn't turn out too well."
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, the roast is nuts.
And then
when he lights that up, and then they're all freaking out.
Yeah, because like, who's carrying gunpowder?
But when he starts going to that story about, because he's like, "Oh, I thought it was the gun now." He's like, "Nah, the gun's no good." He's like,
they're talking about
it's the sledge, and he's like talking about killing the cows.
Because I don't know. I think it's a conversation they're having before they pick him up. Is like, oh, there's a whole new way. They're talking about going to see it's like a slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
Franklin's talking about how I think he's saying that his family used to own a slaughterhouse.
He says
something like
dad and brother worked there.
Worked at a slaughterhouse.
And he goes like, "I was the killer." And he's like, they're like, "All right, man, that's cool."
Yeah, that's cool. Dude.
And then he's talking about head cheese.
Yeah.
And he's like, telling how they make it. Like they boil all the jaws and ligaments and stuff. And he's like, "My brother makes good head cheese." He's like, "You should come over and try it."
Come over and try it.
They're like, "Oh."
"Yeah, dude, that sounds
like,
cool."
"Yeah, man, like
my family's always been in meat."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Franklin goes, "Oh, great, a whole family of Draculas."
Yeah. And you find out that is quite literally the whole family.
Yeah, that's like
monsters.
foreshadowing for.
I do love that. That's another thing that they did in this movie that I don't know if that started it, but I do love the idea of like introducing a creepy character right away.
Yeah.
That just like makes everything a little bit like it's already not great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's already a little unsettling.
Well,
I really like that
they
idea.
They did a lot of foreshadowing stuff in this.
Oh yeah,
like when she starts reading. Remember when they kick him out?
Yeah,
finally,
the horoscopes.
And then she starts reading the horoscopes, and she reads Sally's, and it says like, "Events around you may not seem real. Pinch yourself." Yeah. And you'll find out that they are. It's like
that is cool.
That's crazy, dude. Like, and then later you're like, she's definitely pinching herself from this fucking situation.
But it's just so good. And then this is like a really like a not when they pull up to the gas station, it just made me laugh. The guy's like, "We got great barbecue in here," and then he comes out with just like a white bag. He's like, "I got barbecue," and you're like, "Oh, so they had no props. They had no plan for that scene."
Dude,
like,
Jim Seidel is crazy.
Yeah,
he's like, you don't want to go poking around no old house.
Yeah.
These
The
girls
girls.
don't want to go.
So one thing I noticed this time is he says, do you know about the old Franklin house? He says Franklin House, but his first name is Frank. I think originally probably didn't.
Hardesty.
Maybe Franklin was the last name originally before they actually gave her, because they probably didn't have. But then realized that maybe his name wasn't. But they call him Franklin, so they must have filmed that first or something.
Yeah.
But I think,
and then they were just like, all right, leave it.
Do you think it could be that like his grandpop's name was Franklin? Like it was a family name?
Nah, because it's like the Hardesties. That's how it.
Yeah.
That's how.
I mean, I know they reference it as
yeah.
like the Hardesty family.
Yeah, but I think because like even
afterwards,
like everything after, I mean, before. Oh yeah, I mean maybe it was. I mean, who the fuck knows? He probably didn't. He probably had no idea that this could be anyone ever fucking cared about.
I'm sure
that.
if we talked to him, he's like, yeah, sure, we'll go with that. It was a family name. Like,
But she says like, because he's like telling him not to go.
Yeah.
And she's, or who says it? Franklin. He goes, "It's okay. My daddy owns it or something."
Yeah.
Or maybe Sally says that.
I think Franklin says it. Probably fucking Franklin said that.
Fucking Franklin.
It's so annoying in this movie.
and then he's like, maybe I've seen something like that. He's like, but you know, he's like, why don't you stick around here? The transport will be through in a while. You get your gas.
Yeah.
Because that's the best when they pull up. Is like, can we get some gas? I ain't got no gas.
Yeah. I also like the dude like washing the window.
Oh yeah.
That was like,
oh yeah, that slime ball.
He just smacks the car twice and he leaves.
Yeah, it's like the dirtiest whatever rag that he's using to scrub. I was like, oh. But yeah, this movie like you said, it picks up really fast. I think the kills. There's not any blood really. Like it's not overly gory. Like in order, the kill counts is like what Jerry I think is the first one to get killed.
I think it's Kirk, right? Kirk dies first.
Kirk gets hit with the hammer
first. That's a crazy scene because he goes in the house and he slips on the like metal thing by the kill door.
Yeah.
And then Leatherface hits him and he starts like convulsing like a cow.
Yeah.
You know, and then he fucking hits him again.
Yeah.
And then when he slides that door, that's when the movie gets real, dude.
Yeah.
Because he slides the door, he goes, Wong.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, oh shit.
That's when you're officially like, oh, this is no longer like a weird.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Who is this dude? Like that's like imagine seeing that in theaters, dude. Holy shit.
But
1974.
But it was that scary with no blood still, which is great. I mean, and then even when what's her name's put on the hook,
Pam,
when she's like put up on the hook, like you see the hook, the angle that they do it at, it's like you're like kind of behind the hook, and then you see her and you're like, oh, I know what's happening.
Yeah, you just see her going like,
and then you like, I just think they did such a great
job.
That's
what I was saying. We were talking about this before we started recording. Is that Toby Hooper originally wanted a PG rating, and I'm like, the fuck are you gonna get a PG rating?
Just by content alone, you can't have that.
When he first showed it to the ratings board, they wanted to give him an X rating. I was like,
oh yeah, so you're definitely never.
I was like, you're pretty far off from PG, dude. So he finally got the R and just gave up. I guess I'll take the R. But that's crazy, dude. Like, how are you gonna have a PG with this substance, like this story? Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's also shocking, too. I don't think there's any nudity in this movie.
No, it's great. It's actually great. There's no nudity and there's no relationship.
But I think there's, like, why, even maybe this might be playing with the argument of, like, oh, is this really a slasher? Like, I think people looked at, like, what slashers turned into, where it's, like, you're going to have one girl that's topless in it. Like, you're going to, like, the people are like, oh, well, it doesn't have this.
We all like bubs, but we don't, like, it doesn't need it. This is a...
No, I like it. Like, I think...
Oh, he's like, I like bubs.
Like, oh, what are you trying to say,
I'm a fucking dude, right?
No, I like that they didn't...
Yeah, no,
I
it's
like
cool.
That, like, there's a lot of things that it's like, if you want to, like... This movie evolved into, like, what modern slashers were, and this one you can tell, like, oh, these are all the good parts of what makes the movie scary, and then, like, the 80s just kind of sprinkled in, like... cheesy, like, oh, it's college kids, so we have to, and you're like, no, you didn't have to do any of that. Like, that's why I think this movie is so effective.
So that kill, the first, well, he's not even dead yet. The sledgehammer hit. So Hooper was talking about that in an interview, and he's like, yeah, we did that. So we kind of tried to figure out what would actually happen, and so they, like, from an anatomical perspective, the brain, like once you hit someone with a sledgehammer, that's why they kill cows that way, because the bone shards go into the brain, slowly just fucks your brain up, and then you'll just slowly. So we really tried to like get that right, and I was like, well, I think they got that right.
They definitely got that right.
And then for hers,
I'm definitely not sleeping
under
so
her
because
they had to make that look real. They were like thinking like, well. They're like, oh, what do we do about the blood? And he's like, well, I don't really want blood. I think it's scary. They were originally going to have it just be spurting blood. But they're like, I don't know if that's how it would work, and I don't think that would look good. So instead, what they did is they took pantyhose under her clothes, and they crisscrossed them up and down, up and down, up and down, made them really tight. So she's actually like hanging from that pantyhose, like behind her. So it's like all pantyhose, like a weird pantyhose ladder of pantyhose. That's like she's just like hanging there by just like screaming.
Yeah, that's pretty.
But she doesn't die yet either.
But apparently, I heard that she was actually in pain from that because it was so tight.
Yeah, she was
that
just
she
like.
was actually.
That she was like, all right,
she was
down.
actually like. That was her actual reaction, like when she's moving around so uncomfortable.
Yeah, she's like.
Yeah, could you imagine that? Like once that tension goes, you're just like sucked in by this like tight ass fabric. Yeah, that probably sucks.
That's probably not.
Yeah, there's actually a bunch of reports of all of them kind of getting hurt. Like when she's getting hit with that broom, they said, it looks like you're pulling the broom hits. You got to hit her harder. So she had like black eyes and stuff from getting hit. Sally got. She gets hit with it so hard. She's got black eyes.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
She got hurt. Yeah, so those two aren't even dead yet.
Look, you want to make a good movie, or you want to make a bad
movie? No, they're not
dead,
but when he hangs her on the hook,
then he just hits.
Then he starts carving them up.
Yeah, he hits her with a chainsaw. But that's off. Like you don't see that either, which is kind of.
You just see him laying on the table, and then you hear, and you see him.
Well, even when Franklin bites it, and when I had to rewind it because I was cheering so loud. That was
what the fuck? Why do you guys hate? I think Franklin is like he's a fun character in this one. I'm bummed that they didn't like redo Franklin in other movies after this.
That was so unnecessary. But
me and Nick went, yeah,
dude.
Yeah, so when he does get it, it's pretty sick.
It's literally, I mean, he's killed, but it's basically like, I mean, there's no chain on the actual chainsaw, but you can tell he just like goes up to him, and Franklin's like, oh.
He goes, Sally, I heard something, and also,
like, you're like, oh yeah, you heard something.
So they were spitting. So how they did that is they had the Caro syrup, like the blood. Franklin and Sally, they both had. They would take like gulps of blood in between the chainsaw strikes, and they would be spitting it onto his apron. So that's how they got that effect where like they're off screen, and like obviously no one got chainsawed, but they would just be like holding it, and then it was just, and then they would just like, they would spit it up, and then they would just be like getting like more in their mouth, and they'd just be spitting it against his apron. I was like, that's fucking like crazy.
Like when you hear how long the shoot was, you're like, "There's no way it could have taken that long." And then you hear like stuff like that, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I get it now." Like it's totally believable how it took so long.
And then Jerry's kill is like the most like off-screen one of them all. He gets sledged again too, right? He gets sledged.
Yeah, because he goes in and opens because he decides to go look for her, and he opens the freezer. And Pam's in there.
Yeah. Oh, that's
she pops up.
Yeah, she like flops up, and then he's like, "What the fuck?" And he turns around. Leatherface is there, and he just gets destroyed by the sledgehammer.
And then Leatherface.
But that scene makes it confusing because it makes it seem, and I always thought this when I first watched it, that he got away.
Yeah.
Because he's like, remember he's looking around and then he like sits there with his hand on his head like he's all like I always thought he got away.
Leatherface.
Like he missed the head or something.
Yeah.
But when I watched it again, I was like, oh no, he hits him.
He's done. Yeah.
So they were talking about it in that documentary, and they were saying that's at that part is where he is like, where are where he thought he had everything under control. Where do these people keep coming from? Like where are they? So he's like frustrated, freaking
that
out.
Makes sense,
that's how I read it. He's like, oh shit, like,
he's like,
why are people like trying?
How are they still getting here?
Yeah,
and he's like, we go get the people.
Yeah. That's
but then
so good.
So all that stuff inside, and this is why I think some of the later ones like just don't have the same like you can't reproduce everything, but like basically Hooper would tell his design guy like, oh, I want this, like you need to make this like go make that freaking skin couch. He's like, and then he said the next morning he would come in, the guy would have had it made. Like they would basically go to like I forget what they said, they like farms where like animals would die, and they would just be collecting corpses, and then bones. They would just be getting bones they would just be basically collecting all sorts of animal bones.
That room is crazy. When she falls into that room,
oh my
there's
God.
chickens
like right
in cages,
in the first scene.
There's like all feathers, there's bones, there's a couch made of bones. Like you're just like, And she's just
bizarre.
looking around like, what the?
Like, where the hell are we?
Yeah.
I also like the scene, Jack, the scene that you brought up where Leatherface has his like head in his hands and stuff. That's him. He's like right by a window, and it's basically like just a straight shot on him, and like his teeth are all like fucked up under the mask. It's like I think they do a really good job of like, you get an awesome look at Leatherface, but you still like don't know. I think it's like rare for movies, like you're staring right at like the monster, quote unquote, but you're like, is this a person? Is this a like what is this guy?
Yeah, he's
like,
running his tongue across his teeth.
Yeah, it's so good.
But
it is bizarre.
you know what? One scene I wanted to talk about that I liked, because when they go to the actual grave to see if the grandfather's there, and that drunk guy's there.
Yeah.
And he's like laying on the ground and just laughing, and he's like, things happen here they don't tell about. And he's like doing that whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
he's like, no one listens to the old guy, or like to just an old guy.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
bizarre.
dude, like, that's creepy shit.
I love it though. It's so good.
I know,
it's
I love
so
it. It's so cool
like,
because you're like, damn, dude.
Again,
like,
it just sets the whole scene for like, oh, this is like,
yeah.
The build-up is just great in this movie.
That watering hole they go to.
Oh yeah, it's just dried up.
He's like, I think this is a watering hole, and she's like, how did Franklin ever get down here? And they were like, I think somebody carried him when he was little. He's like, Franklin was never little.
That is great.
But then, so after the water, when they walk up, after the watering hole, when they walk up to the house, that shot is like iconic. Like there's a lot of shots like that, but that one, like that's the one that you see like stills of all the time, where she's walking. And you just see it's like a low shot from her. She's walking up to the house. I think Kirk's already inside, and she's walking up behind him. Yeah. And like it's just the house in the background, and it's just like her back.
That is cool.
It's like one of the coolest like shots.
There's a lot of scenes in this movie that like just camera angles and stuff. Like when Kirk is walking up to the house, like when in the beginning when he hears the generator and stuff like that. Like that low following angle behind him. It was literally I said this to you today, in A Violent Nature, in the trailer, that like following shot right there, like that was, I mean, that's used all the time now. Like that's it. There's so many identifiable like shots and stuff that you're like, oh yeah, they do this in this movie too. Like that's pretty cool.
And you can tell like Hooper's a good director from this movie, like cause of those camera angle shots and stuff.
He knew what he was doing.
But yeah, I mean, when they get to the house before that iconic scene. When they go to the generator, remember they look and they have it all covered, all the old cars that they've killed, all the people they've killed. Like I didn't really put that together the first time I watched it. Now I'm like, holy shit, these are all the cars of people that
they've killed,
and like they're just parking the cars and they have it covered. Like
it's all like
drug cartels have like their drugs covered, like they have all the shit on there.
It's pretty
crazy.
It is really
like
crazy.
That is a cool like little subtle like thing that you're like, oh shit, like
Well, I think it's I do just love how casual the characters are about it. They're like, oh, cool, bunch of cars, and you're like, whoa, whoa.
Hey, why are all these cars here? There's so many. And then on the porch, the tooth falls.
Oh
he's
yeah.
Like, oh, look at this. And then they're like, oh, it's a human tooth. That's fucking weird.
He's like, hey, I got a little treat for you, Toots. And you're like, what? No one's alarmed right now. What is happening? Like, I mean, he does not say, I got something for you, but it's so good.
And that chase scene after Franklin bites it, and me and Nick stopped cheering.
That's like a 5 minute just. That's probably 2 minutes, but
that's so rude.
She runs through, and apparently a lot of that blood was her own blood because she was getting cut from those branches.
Oh yeah, that's a crazy run.
What a miserable existence.
So she runs to the house, goes in the house, goes upstairs, thinks she finds people. It's Grandpa and Grandma, corpses that are dead, and she's like, what? And then she tries to run down the stairs. Leatherface has chainsaw the door open at this point.
That's a cool
scene. And then she runs back up. She jumps out the window.
Yeah.
That's like a husky jump. Then she starts running again, and he's just chasing her. And I saw something cool that even with the lifted boots that Gunnar Hansen was wearing, he was faster than her. Really? So that's why like you see him like kind of cutting branches in the back because he had to like let her run. And like So like,
what a beast though that you're like, I was too fast.
Yeah,
like,
too fast.
Cool.
Just let her go. But
yeah, he's no big deal. I was all state.
But he's running, and then that's when she gets to the gas station.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And she like busts through the door, and then. But do you guys notice that when he leaves to get his truck, he leaves that door open? And if I were her, I'd be like, close that door, please. Like, this guy's just chasing me with a chainsaw. Yeah. Like, but then when he comes back and starts being weird, he has like the bag and the rope. She's like, what are you doing? And he's like smacking her with the...
Yeah. What a weird scene.
And he knocks her out and puts her in the bag. And then when he's driving with her and he's like hitting her with the broomstick. Like in the head, he's like, we're almost there. Just relax.
I think this is one of the parts that Tobe Hooper was saying that people missed for years. They missed the black comedy in his first Texas Chainsaw movie. Like he wanted some of those parts to be like comical.
Really?
Like, yeah, because it is kind of funny. It is kind of like it's a broom. He's smacking her with a broom. It's kind of funny.
I mean, objectively, it's a little silly.
And he's like laughing.
It's like all like I think he went too dark. I think he went so dark that people were like, it's just too scary to be funny.
Yeah, people. Are like,
I think at that point, people were like, holy fuck!
You're like, all right,
this movie's insane.
But like stuff like when he comes back when he changes to like the Pretty Woman mask, like that's true. Like funny. That he's got just like makeup on, and it's like funny that he's like, you know what I mean? It's just like it's like goofy that he's like.
Yeah, Leatherface. He puts on his Sunday best.
It's also goofy that he's like completely nonverbal, and he's just like will do whatever his like. It's like, those things are horrifying, but they're like supposed to be like kind of funny.
Yeah, it's
sort of like tongue in cheek, I guess. I don't know if that's the word for it.
Well, I mean, it is funny, but I think it's like. I don't know if it's like ha-ha funny or if it's just supposed to play into like how weird this situation really is. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if it was supposed to be like it's fucking hilarious, but you know
no,
what I
think
mean?
It's even creepier.
I think it's supposed to add into like, oh, this is like what is going on here?
It's like off kilter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But what other scenes? There's not many scenes to talk about, but it's
after if you're going to follow up what Jack was saying. She comes, they bring her back to the house, and then they set her up.
Well, I was just gonna say real quick that I like that because then you actually figure out that the gas station guy, and the hitchhiker are like they're
like that's their ploy, that's their whole business.
But like know they're related now.
Yeah.
And then he gets out, he starts hitting him. He's like, "Get in the house," and he's like doing all this shit, and then. I love when he woke up and he goes, "Look what your brother did to the door!"
Like, God damn it! Like, that is pretty funny.
But like, then you're like, "Oh shit!" Like all three of these guys
are
all
in
like,
cahoots.
Yeah, like
that is brutal. Do you think the barbecue that they were serving at the gas station was human meat?
Yeah, I think that's the whole bit. Is like
they do something like that. They
in 2.
Yeah, in 2 they extend on that, and
really?
Like he's like. He gets best barbecue every year, but everyone's eating human.
Oh, okay.
Like they kind of like.
Well, yeah, it's Texas versus Oklahoma. They win, and then as he's accepting his trophy, a tooth falls out, and he's like, "Oh, what does he say? That's like a hard kernel or something like that." And she's just like,
"That's a hard kernel."
She's like, "That's a hard kernel," something like that. He's just like crazy.
Something messed up. Yeah,
but I was saying the one thing when they bring her in the house, and then they tie her to that chair and all that shit. And he's like, tie her up, and he ties her up. I think this is one of the like, a lot of people miss this line. I think, and I missed it a couple of times.
Yeah.
But when he picks her up, or when he takes the when the hitchhiker takes the bag off her and realizes it's her, and she realizes it's him, she starts screaming, and then he goes, "I thought you were in a hurry." Because remember when they were kicking him out, and he said, "Yeah, we're in a hurry, man. We gotta go."
Yeah.
And then he says that. I'm like, "That's fucked up.
That's hilarious.
That is.
Yeah, that's that scene right there on my shirt. He's got he's right.
That's so good. Like that line. Just
how evil of a line though. That's awesome.
Yeah, and he's just laughing in her face, like, "I thought you were in a hurry."
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Disturbing all around.
Yeah, I heard that that part too when they're like putting the gag on her. First of all, that gag was a dirty rag they found on the ground.
Oh.
And they just were like, "All right, we got to," and like in the middle of that scene, they were just like, "All right," like that middle of that 36-hour day or whatever, they just basically stuffed it in her mouth and kept stuffing it in her mouth. And then at one point, like when all that stuff's happening, during filming that the chair tipped over, and she said she was just down there with the gag in her mouth. And they were like discussing what went wrong with the scene. They were like, "Oh, she's out of shot," like all this stuff, and she's just like laying there.
She's
like,
just like, well,
the gags are
me.
because she's tied in with the gag. She's like, she's actually in the chair.
Yeah, that is pretty.
So she said like she was saying that her experience was absolutely brutal. Like everything like hurt. Everything was
like
crazy.
Everyone's experience was brutal with this. It sounds like no one had a good time.
In that scene too, when they are saying like, "Oh, you told me Grandpa was the best at killing cattle."
Oh yeah.
And then he starts going through. He's like, he did 60 in 5 minutes. He said they could have done more.
See, now we're talking about humor again. That part where they put her over the barrel, and they're like, "All right, Grandpa, come over here," and they keep trying to put the mallet in his hand, and he keeps dropping it.
They cut her finger. And then he starts sucking her finger.
Yeah.
And then he starts moving around because he's got blood in him. And then, but I read that apparently there was supposed to be a little blood thing that was going to shoot out, like that shows blood.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't working. And they did this scene like 20 times and it didn't work. And Gunnar Hansen cut her finger. And he said, "I don't care. I don't care if she doesn't want her finger cut." He actually cut her finger.
That's fucking crazy.
And he was like,
yeah, I feel like.
But like that was the end of a 36-hour day. Like he's like, "I'm done. Like,
we're done with this.
I'm doing this. Like, I'm sorry, but like we need to get this scene
we need
done."
To get the show on the road.
So he actually just sliced her finger open.
And then his costume, he wore the same exact clothes. They only had one of everything. Same mask, same clothes. They couldn't afford to wash it just in case. When they did, if it changed color.
Oh, because they couldn't.
So he had
for
one
continuity, basically.
He had one, and he said he sweat the whole time, so he stunk worse. That like nobody wanted to be around him.
I just don't understand. Like, I guess part of me is like, oh, like it couldn't have been that bad, like filming, and then you hear shit like this, and you're like, yeah, I don't know why anyone.
They said like no one ate lunch with him or anything.
Yeah, nobody wanted to be around him.
So everyone was like,
like think about 4 weeks wearing the same shirt in the 100-degree.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Like they said it was 100 during the day. 80 at night.
Yeah,
it's like not even cool.
And it's like,
and they kept him away from the other cast with his mask on.
Yeah,
just like they
would
do surprise in the shot, so it wasn't just like, all right, take two, and like he walks back in. Like they wouldn't know when he was coming in.
That's pretty cool.
So he would actually. So the
reactions were genuine.
Yeah, okay. So they were like, "Oh fuck, cool, you got me again."
Like, God damn it! Like you turn around a corner and he's like, "Hey, that's pretty cool though." I respect that. But what other what other scenes?
Oh, dude, I got
the ending. I love like that last scene, which I think I've told before we started recording. I think I brought up 4 times now. But like him standing with like the sun in the back, just like flailing the chainsaw around and stuff. Like, and then so she has like basically screaming and chainsaws. Like Keith mentioned, is like the last 20 minutes. But her screams as she's like pulling away, the other truck turns to laughter. And I'm like, what a great way to like just finish this movie out.
And the guy in the truck like looks back like, what the fuck?
So
like, the dude's like, I should not have stopped.
The thing about that laughter is though that's real laughter, and the reason. So we were talking about like the final scene shot.
Yeah.
So
was she just hyped
thought
to be done?
Well, she thought everything was done. They told her they were cut, right?
So she finally, was like, "Thank God it's over."
No, not even that. They finally got her hair was dyed pink from all the blood in the movie.
Yeah, that's
so she had literal pink hair. She finally got it all out. She's in her hotel room, probably ready to wrap and go home. Not paid yet, whatever. Yeah. And they called her back and like, "Yeah, really sorry to tell you this, but we didn't get the shot." So she had to come back.
No.
So when she's covered in blood again.
Yeah.
In that last scene when she's in the truck and she's just like maniacally laughing, she actually like broke down and she was just like
had a meltdown basically.
She's like having an actual meltdown. That's why that's that picture right here where she's but like when you watch that, like her eyes, like it's fucking scary.
She
like you're
terrifying.
Just like there's something way off about that laugh, and it's like because it's like real.
Dude, she's just so done with everything. Yeah.
When the hitchhiker gets hit by that truck.
Oh my god,
dude. It's like one of the craziest.
Flat standing after that.
So just not to get too much into 2, but in 2,
yeah,
that body they're carrying around is the hitchhiker's body.
Yeah.
And like his mask.
I didn't know that until I saw it a couple times.
His mask that he's wearing in that movie is made up of the hitchhiker's face, which is crazy.
That is cool.
And they're just carrying his brother around the whole time.
Yeah, they're carrying him around, and but that is crazy when he gets when he gets run over.
Yeah.
Brutally run over.
When Leatherface, the guy throws the fucking wrench at his head, and then he cuts his. He's like, and it's like,
yeah, because he drops the chainsaw.
There's some blood in that scene. There's a squirt of blood.
They showed that. That was cool.
They
cuts through the pants.
Cut that.
That is pretty funny though.
I guess they only had one shot at that because they only had one pair of pants, so they only had one shot at that one.
The other thing I liked is after they cut her finger, and she passes out. Remember, because Grandpa's sucking her finger.
Because Grandpa's being weird as shit.
And she passes out, and then she wakes up, and she starts screaming because she thought it was I guess she thought it wasn't real, and she starts screaming, and they all start screaming.
Yeah.
And then...
How chilling is that, though?
I know. And then she looks at the dad, Jim Sydow.
Yeah.
And she says to him, because he goes, I can't take any pleasure in killing. Remember he says that?
Oh, yeah.
And then she goes,
he's like, it's just something you do. You gotta do.
You can make them stop. That's what she says to him. And then fucking Hitchhiker goes, no, we can't. He's just a cook. And and they
roasted.
And they start fucking, and they're just screaming. It's dude, these people are
it's bizarre,
fucking crazy, man.
But that line, I do love that line though. When he's like, it's just something we have to do. It's like you can. He's like, doesn't mean you have to enjoy it. And you're like, oh my god.
He's like, never took any pleasure in killing.
It's bizarre.
But dude, and that whole like you said, the whole end thing. And I read that the dance at the end that Leatherface does was actually Gunnar Hansen
being hype.
Celebrating
it's over.
Done.
Yeah. That is pretty funny that most of these is and they were so happy here not because their character escaped but because they thought their job was done. I do think that is pretty funny that's
I do have another gross fact.
Yeah, man.
So when they were doing so if you look around that room, there's a bunch of dead animals around that, roadkill and dead animals around the room. They just have them everywhere. And
just furniture.
But when they were doing that scene, it was so hot that everything started going. They're already dead animals, but everything's just started stinking.
In the dinner
scene. So they had took everything outside, all the animals, and they're like, all right, we'll just burn it. Well, they tried that. They had a pile of that rotting animal, and they're like, oh, we got to burn this. Well, it caught, but it didn't catch. So they figured it would just burn all down. So it was just this smell of smoked animal. It's just the smell just started coming back into the house.
Like barbecue smoked animal.
But just dead.
Oh.
But it was just
disgusting.
it was things were smoking instead of just burning. So so the smell inside was even worse. So not only was it 100 degrees and then they were stinking.
Yeah.
They said the sound the guy that was the worst, the guy that had the worst job was the gaffer. He was up above everybody. So it was 100 degrees here. It was 120. He said his sweat was just dripping down onto everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. Remind me to never to work with this guy.
But there's so many cool movies that are influenced by this. Obviously House of 1,000 Corpses is directly influenced. But there's a movie called Frontiers, which is a Belgian French one that is sadistic and it's it takes place in France. It's crazy, but they end up kind of walking into this sadistic family situation, kind of like this. And then there's a movie called I think it's called Satan, but it's spelled Sheitan. It's another French movie where Vincent Cassel plays kind of he plays the cook, and it's just fucking crazy. And there's I don't know if you guys heard of The Loved Ones. That's an Australian one. It's it's a spin on Texas Chainsaw. It takes place kind of on 4 where there's a prom night, but the guy refuses her prom date. And then they basically take him home to their house and realize that her family is crazy. And he should have gone to prom. That's a good one. But there's so many other ones even what am I thinking? Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
Kind of takes the whole cannibalistic thing, and then the Hills Have Eyes remake, Wrong Turn, all that stuff. Kind of all between Deliverance and Texas Chainsaw, all that stuff kind of.
Well, I also read that Ridley Scott. It inspired Ridley Scott to make Alien.
I did not. I would not see that connection, but
that's pretty cool.
It's probably honestly the badass final girl.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she's
kind of there's a killer, and I think Alien's more close to Thing because you're obviously space stuff, but you're there's one thing hunting you and trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Like Predator, you know. But like, I don't know. I could see the kind of the correlation.
But would you say Ripley is your ultimate final? I think she's my ultimate final girl. She's the most badass.
She is great.
Like out of anyone. Like Sally Hardesty, I think kills.
Sally.
God.
Yeah, I mean, but I have a couple phone facts if you guys.
Yeah, you want to? You want to dive into those?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
So Leatherface wore 3 different masks: killing mask, old lady mask, and pretty woman mask.
Old lady mask. I
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, that's right. The old lady mask is the one that he wears like when he's cooking, like when he's like preparing. It's different from
I think he has it on when he kills Jerry.
So that's different from the kill mask.
Yeah.
This is the kill mask.
Yeah, that's the kill mask. Yeah. And then so hold on, sorry, I said some of these already.
Oh, so I will say with each mask, because of how they usually kill the people with a blunt object to the head, most of all the masks they had to create the mask with like a huge like tear and like that's why a lot of them have staples in them too, because they had to like primitively like, so a lot of them have like a blunt strike in the head because of how they kill everybody.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good. So it's like you're supposed to be like, oh, this like he made this mask from obviously people that he killed in bizarre ways.
Yeah,
cool.
It's like cool that they like
they thought about it. Yeah,
and they used like layers of not paper mache. I forget what they said it was, like fiberglass and like something else to like create all these like crazy layers to be translucent. So like this is obviously like a reproduction of it, but like the way it would actually look like someone's like see-through skin.
Oh,
that's why it looks as weird as it does, because it's like it's disgusting. Like that's why it was probably so hard for that one to be worn. It's probably so hot.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
How do you think? I mean, I can't imagine that those were in good shape after they filmed too. I'll bet they were probably all sorts of banged
at
up.
the time they probably thought this movie was never going to come out. He probably threw that thing out.
Thing's in a landfill somewhere. That's kind of a bummer though. But Jack, what do you got?
So since the film's original release, where that house was is now just an open field. But
it was a restaurant.
Well, somebody bought the house and moved it. And now it's relocated and restored and is now formerly known as Junction House Restaurant.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
Oh, so they moved the house.
They moved the house.
Because that was not part of the detail I heard. I just thought that was the house. But like, it doesn't make sense because you have to drive down like this crazy road to get there.
But yeah, you think the cars are still there?
Yeah, you make a left and then a right and then another left and then you go down this dirt road and then you make a left and then now you're at this restaurant.
And then now you're at the real spot.
So we get three patrons a week.
And then Jim Sydow was actually originally Toby Hooper, and in the script, he's their brother. Oh. But it plays off as their dad. Like,
okay, yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wait, so you said he's originally Toby? What do you mean?
He was supposed to be Leatherface and the hitchhiker's brother, the dad.
Oh, okay. So he's gonna be a brother instead.
But that's what he's supposed to be. But when you watch the movie, he definitely comes off as like their dad more than a brother.
Yeah, I mean he that's.
Wait, so is he the brother?
That's what Toby Hooper originally.
Oh shit!
But
he's so much older.
But Hooper agreed that there is like ambiguity there.
Like, that's cool. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
We don't need all the answers.
And then
he writes it down in his diary. He's like, yeah.
The film
fucking no answers. Yeah,
he's the fucking dad. I know it.
The film was. He's the fucking dad.
He's fucking dad.
The film was originally titled Leatherface.
Do you think that's why they did the homage to the movie? I guess that's.
I'm glad that they changed.
Well, then they changed it.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And but the original, even before Leatherface, it was going to be called Head Cheese.
Oh, that was
Head Cheese.
Yeah, Head Cheese.
Terrible. That would have been
Holy
awful.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they shouldn't have called it Head Cheese. I'm glad that didn't happen. That's bizarre.
But that is, that's all I have. Because some of them I already revealed early, you know.
So
you already
got early.
So after
gave the people a little sneak preview
Yeah.
along the way.
So how Bill? Do you know how Bill Moseley got to be Chop Top? After this movie, he made a short movie called Texas Chainsaw Manicure, and it's like I actually found it on Instagram. It's about a minute 20 seconds long, and it's like these ladies at a getting done up at a salon, and then she's like, oh yeah, it's time for your manicure, and this guy comes in with a chainsaw, and he's like, and it's all off screen, you just hear, And then it zooms away. You think this lady's gonna be dead. And she looks down. And she has like long red nails. She's like, "Oh my god!" So she goes out to her car to her husband, and she goes, "Oh my god, look at my manicure!" And shows her the nails. And it's Bill Moseley playing the hitchhiker. And he goes, "Oh honey, I'm so happy for you." He's all super creepy. He's like, "Do you want some head cheese?" And so that's pretty. Toby Hooper saw that and said, "I'm gonna keep him in mind." And then when he was like, "All right, we're doing the second one," he's like, "Yeah, I gotta have him." That's how Chop Top.
That's crazy.
That's pretty cool.
That's how Chop Top making like a little thing, and then Hooper's like, "I'll keep him in mind."
Like, let's get that guy.
And then he wrote him in as Chop Top is the brother that was their brother, but he was in Vietnam while Texas Chainsaw was happening.
That's pretty cool.
And two, Chop Top's a great character.
That's what I mean. Like people are like, two, like it's like kind of funny. I'm like, yeah, but it is unbelievable.
I like two, but the end gets just so weird.
Oh, you don't like the Lost Boys underground caverns.
I like it. I like it, but it's just like I feel like it's a little bit too long.
Yeah, it could if they would have stuck to the 80-minute Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, if they would have cut that scene a little bit,
it would have been good.
But Hopper's insane.
Yeah, Hopper is awesome in that. So Hopper is actually their uncle, Sally Hardesty and Franklin's uncle. He's going to find out what happened.
Okay.
Just 13 years later. Like as you do.
I gotta say, I still haven't seen the second one.
Oh, it's fucking.
I gotta watch it.
You should watch. You would like the second one.
1 is great. 2 is great. What do you think about like 3? Like some of the sequels?
So 3 has Viggo Mortensen in it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, are they worth watching?
And what's his name from Dawn of the Dead? Ken Free.
Oh yeah. And that one, I mean, I like that one. It's not great, but I watched it last year.
I just watched it again.
It's watchable.
It. Yeah,
it's gritty. It's dark. The brothers.
Gritty,
I think the brothers like Viggo and his brother. The Alfredo dude is my favorite. He is hilarious.
Yeah,
they are good. I mean, I like that. And then the fourth one has McConaughey and Zellweger in it, which is so crazy.
Yeah, so the third one they're on
that's like the new generation or something.
The next generation. Actually, but it's also called The Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like another title. I think that poster looks so much sicker. But yeah, so 3's they're basically just on like a road trip and
chaos and
they run their cars off the road and then they have to go and they get to the house and blah blah blah. And 4 has a very similar house, but the kids are on prom night. Renee Zellweger, also the same year as Empire Records. I mean, come on.
I mean, how about it? Yeah.
Right after Dazed and Confused,
she was
not that bad.
Yeah, she was.
And they basically end up meeting like this. She's supposed to be like a real estate agent, but really she's working with them. Yeah. That one is crazy. Leatherface is barely in it.
Really? That's kind of.
He's in it, but he's basically just funnier looking, funnier. Not that just really not much chainsaw in it, but it introduces the Illuminati.
That's what it plays when it
basically, and that's also directed by the original writer Kim Henkel.
That's cool.
Which is kind of cool because it has like there's a lot of homage to it, and it is weird. It's probably not a good movie, but I think it's awesome. I think it's super fun. And then there's then at their they do the dinner scene, but this time you find out the Illuminati is actually running the cannibals. Like they're in charge. There's some dudes in charge. He's got like some like Hellraiser style like body modifications. Okay. But he's just like a dude. Yeah. He's like a mobster dude.
Okay.
And he comes, so you find out that, and then
I mean, I would say watch all of them because they're
definitely
all good
in their own
they're definitely worth watching.
Yeah. Matthew McConaughey gets hit by a plane. Literally, he gets hit by a plane. That's how he dies.
Sold, then.
And then she basically gets picked up and.
That's young McConaughey.
That's young McConaughey, and then you get another frustrated dancing Leatherface. Yeah, and in 2, what's her name? Stretch does the Leatherface dance at the end with the chainsaw. Yeah. So it's cool. They all kind of homage, but it's like one of those things. Like, how far do you want to peel the onion back? I like to go all the way in because the water is warm. You don't really need anything beyond like the remake. Okay, we didn't even talk about the remake because you guys are slackers, but the remake in 2003 is kind of incredible. It brings a whole new fear. Okay. Like they do a lot more gore. It doesn't have the same
What, the one with Beale?
Yeah.
I like that one. That was good.
I mean, there's an obvious reason that Beale was cast for that movie as you watch it. I can't explain. I don't even know how to say it without. It's just insane. But she's awesome in it. Yeah. You see someone get their head blown off. They have a different hitchhiker. Same kind of story.
Yeah.
What's his name from Remery E. Lee, the dude from
R. Lee Ermey.
R. Lee Ermey, fuck that up. From Full Metal Jacket. He is. He's the sheriff.
Really?
And the patriarch.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Actually,
it's actually a pretty sick movie. It's not. I don't even know it's good, but That was the first one I
It's
saw,
worth it, yeah.
and that one's more of like this is real footage.
I think I saw that.
Theaters.
I think I did.
I did too, because it scared the shit out of me. Because they show you the
Keith
real
hasn't been the same
real
since.
footage of them like finding the house, and then in the movie like there's this part where like someone like, you see the nails drug against the wall, and then in the movie you see his nails rip off as it's dragging down the wall. So like as a 15-year-old kid, I'm like, holy fuck, that was real.
You're like, yeah, dude, I'm never sleeping again.
And there was like a really grueling meat hook scene.
Yeah.
There's some decent chainsawing.
Well, I kind of compare it like this one. The first one wasn't super gory because Hooper wasn't going a lot of blood.
Yeah,
but
also,
like
if you didn't
the
have the
remake
budget for it,
is
like...
definitely more gory.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing with Hills Have Eyes. Like
yeah.
The first one is like it's okay. I saw it's Wes Craven.
Yeah,
the remake's it's so much better.
Yeah,
and I used to fight my buddy on that and say no. Original's better, and then like when I watched both of them, I'm like,
what?
You're like, nah.
That one I never was confused. This one I say both are good. I don't like to compare them. Original's the best, but the remake is good. In Hills of Eyes, it's like a violent swing. It's It's like
well, I was trying to be one of those guys like I'm original all the way.
But you like find yourself falling asleep to the Hills of Eyes 77. You're like, it's like okay, but like.
And then you put on the other one, you're like, holy shit.
You're like,
oh, I'm never using.
That's Alexander Aja. Guy that did High Tension. I think that's a fucking crazy filmmaker right there. He is crazy. That movie, that remake, I can just not even watch it and still picture scenes, and I'm like, and even the second, even the sequel to the remake, that movie's fucking crazy. But the remake is the first Platinum Dune movie, and they would do a lot of remakes. They did this, Amityville Horror, the prequel to this, Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street, which that one's not very good, but all the other ones are good.
Okay.
All right, boys. What do we think?
I have to shout out. So I shouted out
away.
the Manicure, Texas Chainsaw Manicure, but there's a movie called Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers that Gunnar Nelson is also in. That came out in 1988, and that also stars the great Linnea Quigley, and that one is honestly unbelievable. I mean, most people will never watch it because most of the movie is about like ladies
of the evening.
But at the end, like if you just read the plot description on Wikipedia, like it seems like there's no way that's what it is. But there's supposed to be like a cabal of chainsaw there's like an Egyptian chainsaw wielding cabal. That's what like the idea is, and Gunnar Nelson is the actual leader of them. So he's he's their leader. He's like no mask. He's just in the movie.
Oh, that's cool.
He's their leader, and at the end, yes, they are sacrificing people with chainsaws in an Egyptian ceremony, and it is fucking awesome. But at the same time, it's like a 50s crime noir where this guy's trying to find the girl.
Oh, that's cool.
So like you have like this guy, he's like a hard-boiled like detective. He's like, and then I decided to go here and check this out. And then he's like also like he has to investigate. He basically has to save the girl because she went missing.
Yeah.
She got mixed up with the underground cabal.
Crowd.
She didn't realize they were chainsaw wielding warriors.
How could you?
But I'm just like, this movie is like obviously it says what it is.
Happens 80s, the best, so.
Sleazy, dark comedy violence, not to be taken seriously, and that's exactly what it is.
Well, there you go.
Nice.
Well, if you haven't taken anything away from this episode, that is your fault because I think we gave you a lot of good stuff to go off of. People out there.
I have one more thing.
One more thing. All right.
So apparently the cops actually thanked the hitchhiker because crime went down 18% after that. Because what people took away from the movie is don't pick up hitchhikers.
Because at that point, like you don't have like years of movies and bad stories to hear about hitchhikers killing people or doing stuff because you're just like.
Apparently, they gave him like an award or something and said like, "Thank you for helping with crime."
Sheriff in training.
But I wish
they give the kids the little plastic hat.
The one thing I do wish about Tobe Hooper in general about the stuff after this, I have no issue with his movies after this, but the way that this and the movie Eggshells were shot before it, the way that the camera is used, like it's all like, I don't know, it's all like boots on the ground, like. Cool angles. Like I just wish that he would have done some more like that because he doesn't do that again. Like all his movies get bigger and
he gets a budget,
real cameras. I'm not even like an art house guy, but like I do kind of like every once in a while I like to watch movies that are just like visually like wow, like that's really awesome. They're doing like not everything has to be low budget, not everything has to be gritty, not everything has to have a soundtrack that makes you like question your life.
Yeah.
It's like, but like when it,
Yeah.
so it's like lighting. I guess it's like lighting the bottle though, because you're like, okay, all these things lined up, and we got it done. And then they're like, oh, but we have money now, so now we can make Texas Chainsaw 2.
Yeah, and we can actually use like more special effects.
We can do Poltergeist with the one and only Spielberg. So it's
Spielberg, you know.
But like, so like, I'm not the guy's like, oh, dude, I wish you would have stayed old school, because like, obviously he made amazing shit after that.
Yeah.
But like, he also did like what he's famous for a music video, Billy Idol music video.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really? That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
What do we think? I think I have a quote. If we're ready to wrap it up. So it's not a quote; it's the tagline, which I never brought it up, but I love it. Are we ready?
Yes.
Who will survive, and what will be left of them?
Oh! Yeah, that's it.
That's pretty.
That is a good one.
All right, everyone. Until next time.